Welcome in on a Thursday afternoon, another delightful day. And we know this is really fall, don't we? Because tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the defending Super Bowl champions officially begin the NFL season. They will take on the Houston Texans, a good rivalry there. Two great quarterbacks, two young quarterbacks that could be sort of the faces of the league for a long time, and that will take place tonight. There's college football. By the way, Tigers landed another three-star linebacker today. Ryan Silverfield just continues to kill it. This kid's name is Dedrick Smith, and now that they've gone to a three-down lineman, four linebacker front, the more of the linebackers you can get, the better. This kid, three-star. He was sought after by Illinois, where his brother plays, by Colorado, by Miami, by North Carolina. Charlotte offered him, and this acquisition or this commitment keeps the University of Memphis at the top of the class in the American Athletic Conference. Word trickling out today. The American Brett Norsworthy is thinking about a double round robin basketball conference setup. So you'd play each team twice. That would be 20 games instead of the 18 they have been playing. This on the heels of Dan Gavitt, the senior vice president for the NCAA with hoops. They are not going to go to an all-inclusive NCAA basketball tournament. They're staying with the 68, and hopefully they're going to start when it's supposed to, in March. We'll see if all that takes place.
I hope so. That's great news on every front that you just discussed, and including, look, we're going to have to accept some things. That's a lot of conference basketball games, but others are already doing that. I like a little more diversity in scheduling, but this year I think you're going to see, just like in college football, a lot of the conference thing going on, and we're going to have to do that. Now, for NCAA tournament, it really impacts us here because we are supposed to host at FedEx Forum in Memphis. Memphis is supposed to host in March a round of 8, a ticket punch to the Final Four out of Memphis in spring of 2021, and we hope by then that it can be some fans and that they can have it somewhere. But you're hearing a lot of places saying, no shot through March at a lot of places. But we'll see how it is. And Laird Veach's quotes today far and wide about after the next home game, next Friday night, a week from tomorrow night against Houston, that maybe in October some things can be relaxed and loosened up. Time will tell.
Time will tell. It all comes down to the Shelby County Health Department. And the University of Memphis has really been a understanding partner.
You have to be, and
they have basically said,
you can't buckle.
Okay, and
you've got to follow.
And I'm voicing this. I'm going, all right, you want 12 feet when the rest of the world is practicing 6 feet. Explain to me why. And all we hear from the doctors, Householder and Randolph, is, well, we just feel that that's the best way. That's the safest way. I'd like to see some sort of medical evidence as to why it has to be 12 feet when everybody else is 16. And let me tell you this, at this moment, now all this could change. This would be disaster for what you're talking about, Memphis having that the regional.
Yeah, because if it's 12 feet outdoors, what in the world would it be indoors?
I can tell you what it would be. He has proposed 27 feet.
Well,
so you'd have under 1,000 people in that arena, and the NCAA is not going to allow that. They'll move it somewhere else. Right. So it wouldn't be here under those terms. Now, look, by then we could have a vaccine that's mass distributed, and everybody feels safe and come on in. I don't know.
You mentioned tonight kicking off the NFL season, the Chiefs all-time at home and home openers at Arrowhead, 28 wins, 20 losses, including wins in their last 4. So they put that on the line tonight against, you mentioned, Dave, a pretty good rivalry. Houston needs to win a few more times. It's mostly Kansas City, but the future, and we know at that position, if you've got quarterbacks, you have a lot of interest in the league, and the future is bright among young quarterbacks, particularly number 4 Deshaun Watson and MVP of the Super Bowl number 15, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, well, I think there are some really special guys. I think when you're talking about these young, great players, you have to think about Lamar Jackson for sure. He's a guy. Baker Mayfield, we think, could be that way.
Could be.
Kyler Murray could be that way. We don't
Should
know
be.
yet. So, we've had this great run
Dak.
when you think about, Dak.
Carson Wentz.
Carson's got to stay healthy, but he's certainly a terrific quarterback. He's almost sort of wouldn't you put Dak and Carson? I know they're still young,
Middle, yeah.
but they're not this new group coming
they're
up.
not
that we
newly
mentioned.
minted, no.
Right? And we've had. I mean, the league's got to have. You got to have great quarterbacks to really be good,
And
right?
it has. And it always hands the baton off.
We're leaving this era with Brady and Roethlisberger and Eli, who's now gone. Right? That it has been a great. Well, Breeze at the end of this, for
Phillip
sure.
Rivers at the end, Stafford at the end, Aaron Rodgers not at the end, but he sees the end.
I see him closer to the end.
I do too.
Not Rivers,
more
Drew
days
Brees.
behind Aaron Rodgers than in front of him.
Yes, absolutely.
And we left out Heisman Trophy winner Joe Burrow. We'll see. He's got to go win. We know sometimes the Heisman can have a National Football League curse. And sometimes it can have a blessing.
Well, I hope there is patience on him because, as was pointed out by Bo Marchant the other day, I mean, there's never been a rookie quarterback who will start in the National Football League that never took a snap in a preseason game. That's asking an awful lot. And there's going to be a bunch of mistakes. And all I have to tell you is a probable 100% lock in the very first ballot. That would be Peyton Manning. He threw a lot of picks that first year, made a lot of mistakes, and he had exhibition games to play in.
And had a lot of tutelage and still really scuffled as a rookie, but you saw signs there. I think it was 13 touchdowns, 26 interceptions. That's a rookie record. And they said he told Joe Burrow, my advice to you, don't break my record.
Yeah.
Throw that ball away.
They
never see that safety. Because that safety is a lot faster than that safety was in college.
And a lot smarter than you are at the very beginning, that's for sure.
Very crafty.
Yeah. It is definitely I think it's going to be tough for Joe. I really do.
No, I do too.
But I think in the end he'll be a really good player, but I don't think he got the hand dealt that you would like because he's got absolutely zero exhibition games to play in. What did you think about Dan Gavitt saying basically we're not going to do a tournament 5 times what we normally do? And there are some things that –
it was a nice pat on the head to the fun one-day story of that.
Yeah.
And
well, that was sort of Mike Krzyzewski up against the NCAA. It was his group that really was pushing that thing. But, the first thing I thought
Dan
of –
Gavitt said, we got a bracket, and it's 68 teams.
Oh.
Everybody starts the beginning of the year at the same time. And most conferences, not all, but most allow the second swing at it in the postseason. Some eliminate at the end of the conference schedule, at the end of the round robin. But most give another shot, and Dan Gavitt nicely said, if you don't make it then, you're not deserving of it.
Well, the bottom line for me comes to what I just mentioned. I mean, there are places at this point that wouldn't allow you to have crowds. How can you plan a big tournament when you don't think there could be any crowd participation?
It'll be hard enough for 68, isn't it?
I mean, yeah. So I think we are a lot of time and decisions away from really finalizing what this tournament is going to look like.
But at least basketball's out there, and it's more than baby steps. Basketball making plans, and I think necessarily, and administrators and coaches and everybody at that level making plans. College football got a little bit of a late start, and we all knew tomorrow is the 6-month anniversary of Rudy Gobert night. We knew the world had changed, and college football kind of got up to the 4th of July, and it was eureka. We need to start making some plans.
Brett, the only thing I can say on that is I don't mind college basketball making plans. I really don't. And I think and this is where college football sort of missed the boat. I don't think they had enough plans with alternatives that were in place.
I agree.
But
I agree, Dave.
I think if the NCAA tries to make too many plans this early, they're going to end up looking like the Big Ten.
Well, you don't have to reveal everything.
The Big Ten decided, okay, it's the myocarditis news came out, and they didn't really see the total research on all of that, and they jumped the gun because they did not have to make the decision to not play when they did. And I don't know why they felt they had to get a jump on everybody. I don't know if that's the chancellors and the presidents or if that's Kevin Warren, the commissioner. But if they'd waited 2-3 weeks, they might have seen numbers coming down, and they might have taken the same approach that the SEC, that the Big 12, the ACC, and the AAC have all taken and played the games. And so far, knock on wood, so good from week number 1.
So far, so good. Going to be eggshell existence almost every day. I'm sure those power brokers every day are getting updates and asking every question you can think of, and a lot of it with a lot of trepidation, scared of maybe what the possible answer can be. We all know what the restart and the reboot and kind of trying to relaunch our lives near and far, what it's been like. And at some point, you almost have to take the IOC's stated goals for next year is we play on. It's really easy to say 10 months out. We're going to play no matter what COVID is.
Well,
it's easy to say.
Easy to say, harder to do until you get to what has to be the starting line.
Yeah, and at some point, it gets here. Everything ends.
We got a busy show coming your way. As always, we will speak at 3:30 with the Sporting News college football analyst Bill Bender, Keith Smith, down in the bubble in Orlando. He will join us. Did you see this story about Daniel House, the Houston sixth man?
I did.
So apparently, he was smart enough, unlike some others that earlier in the season, he was smart enough to stay in the bubble. But he had a little extracurricular activity apparently with someone in the bubble. And that's a no-no, and now we're going to have to wait and see. I don't really think it changes the way this series outcome was going to take place anyway, the Lakers in Houston, but it certainly doesn't help Houston if he can't play anymore. And it's an interesting story, and Keith Smith, I'm sure, will have some words on that with the start of the football season. Russell Copeland will join us at 4:30. At 5:30, Tim Doolin on baseball, and it skips. Refresh my memory who we have at 5 o'clock today. Greg Gaston. Greg Gaston at 5 o'clock coming your way, and we'll talk a little Tigers with him.
Looking forward to visiting on the Tigers with him, and a lot going on in the world of sport near and far, and you got a soccer game you got to do tonight.
I will be leaving at 4 o'clock and heading down to AutoZone Park. 901 FC will take on the North Carolina Football Club. Both teams in dire straits. If they want to make the playoffs, they're in a thing called Group G.
Need to win, not even a tie, right?
They're at the bottom of Group G.
Need to win.
Both those teams need 3 points.
Yeah,
you get 3 points for a W, you got to get a win.
A little bit of a hard win, and I don't mean it caustically. I don't mean it pointed at anyone, because I think there are a lot of reasons. But tonight, the basketball game with Houston involved, it starts at 6, and then an hour and 20 minutes later with the Houston NFL team involved. I mean, there are going to be a lot of comparisons tomorrow when all the numbers come in on ratings tonight of what NFL did up against a good NBA night. Now, in fairness, come on, and we can all understand this, can't we? This is not the normal NBA watch time of the year. That's understandable, isn't it? That's just fair, isn't it?
I think it is.
I think it should be.
I think,
but I wonder in the city of Houston, even if let's say the Rockets are ahead when they're teed up against each other in the city of Houston, it'll be a massacre ratings-wise, won't it? NFL wins big, doesn't it?
I think so. I think the NFL always wins big. I think
that's it.
I think people
Wasn't that how hard was
well,
it?
and they're not accustomed to, as you just said, basketball. I think there are some people that are down on the social activism, and so there's several different factors conspiring against the NBA. The frequency of all the games, people now might be getting a little tired. I know I watched
The time of
I
them.
watched the game last night, first game last night, the double overtime game, and Lowry's heroics and Powell's heroics, and I'm thinking, whoa, what a game. And then I'm going back to see what's going on in the NHL. I'm going back and forth. I'm watching the Cubs and the Reds, and at the halftime of the second NBA game, I mean, I'm exhausted. I didn't care that
Drew
much.
Davis tapped out.
I really do think there's a frequency
There
issue
is.
with this
There
in the
is.
bubble. So that's another aspect of why these.
I mean, it's like going to that
ratings are down.
buffet and just all that food around, and I mean, you almost don't even know where to start. Here's another. Just trying to be fair. 6 o'clock Central start for Lakers Rockets. That's 4 o'clock in Los Angeles. A whole bunch of people are in traffic at that time.
Right. Well, and the Lakers have complained. They've been the late game every time, and they're saying it's just like traveling. And I was listening. Frank Vogel says, if we play the late game here, I won't get to sleep until somewhere between 3 and 5, and I always have a coaches meeting at 9 a.m. He said it's almost like traveling, like being getting on an airplane and going to that city.
I can't wait to visit with Keith Smith at 4 o'clock from Yahoo Sports down in Orlando on the NBA. And the other day he tweeted out, I want to ask him about it. They legitimately, Brad Stevens did not know that Monday was Labor Day. I believe it, too.
I believe it, too.
Because those guys, they get locked in.
They focus.
And in season, I mean, they'll forget children's birthdays. They'll forget it's Christmas. I mean, it's easy to do. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Some beautiful 2021s. They are on the way. Give them a call at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the golden opportunity September sales event. Great offers on all 2020 models and the 2021s that are on the way. If you ever thought I'd look great in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus of Memphis thinks you would look great in one of their beautiful cars as well. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. You want a Lexus, and you do. There's one place to get it, at 2600 Ridgeway, and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Phone number 901-362-8833. Everything safe, everything contactless, everything looking out for you, the customer. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, it is. The NFL begins tonight with the defending Super Bowl champions. Will they become the 8th franchise to win back-to-back Super Bowls? And you were just talking about the NBA ratings and the NFL ratings. There was an interesting new Washington Post poll that revealed some striking changes in American attitudes about players' rights to protest and to speak out on social issues. A majority of Americans, 56%, now believe it is appropriate for athletes to kneel during the anthem as a form of protest. Quite a difference than the 2 years ago when Colin Kaepernick did. 42% disagree. An even larger majority, 62%, now believe athletes have the right to express themselves.
He first knelt in
on
2016.
social and national issues.
But you're right, Dave. And look, whether you like it or you don't, they have a right to. What they have to understand, there are actions and reactions.
Some people think that that is a part of the it's a part. It's not the total reason for the plummeted TV ratings of the NBA. I don't think that's the majority of the reason at all. I think frequency, time,
several factors.
I think there's so many different factors that go in, and this poll sort of points to that. When 56% believe it's okay to kneel and 62% said they have the right to express themselves, we've done a reversal from the Kaepernick experience.
My top story tonight on NBC Channel 5 and right here on Sports 56, 87.7 and 96.1 on Westwood 1, the Texans at Kansas City. And we know a lot of people can't wait and watch the TV tonight. I can't wait to watch Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth tonight when they open the broadcast. Back in the dark days of May and June, it was almost unimaginable for even the unsinkable NFL to pull this off. But nothing torpedoes the Shield. And by virtue of that, football continues at every level, because as long as you have the NFL, football will continue down to 7-year-old football, just in that off chance for that 7-year-old that goes out to practice to someday to ring that money bell and play in the NFL.
It is happening. You knew that it would, and let's just, I guess, tip the cap to all of sports that figured out a way in this pandemic, even with delays, even with postponements, they figured out a way for the show to go on. The U.S. Open, NFL football, college football, Major League Baseball, NASCAR, obviously PGA golf,
WNBA,
WNBA, it all happened.
Mm-hmm.
MLS, USL soccer, it all happened. We were off for a while, but in the end, it carried on.
Dave, may I read do we have time for me to read a tweet?
Sure.
Ross Tucker, that Eli, all of us had on a lot of times at Super Bowls, who works for Westwood One, former NFL lineman, was at Westwood. He is at Westwood One. He had a good tweet today. The tweet said, "Many said the NFL should delay the start of free agency. A lot of people said the draft should be pushed back. A lot of people said there's no way the NFL could play without a bubble. 0 for 3. I know it's more popular to bash the big bad NFL, but kudos to Roger Goodell and company for not listening."
There you go. Guys thinking just like I was thinking.
Not top story of the day.
Well, here's the numbers, and they're really actually pretty decent today. 105 new COVID cases in Shelby County. 1 death. Here's the thing I like the best. The hospital numbers continue to improve. Brett, in all of the ICU beds now, there are only in Shelby County 73 cases, which is 21% of the beds that are occupied. And, of course, there is still space. We're at, I think, 86% of the beds. So
Dr. Jane told us there were 3,300 hospital beds in Shelby County, ICU and otherwise.
Acute care.
Just total, if you needed to go to the hospital and get a bed, 3,300. So how many do you think are occupied otherwise from?
Well, I know it's only 21% of the ICU, and I think it's even less with the acute care.
Fantastic.
So those numbers continue to come down. There's 166,000 cases in Tennessee. We're at 1,900 fatalities, 88,000 in Mississippi, 2,600 fatalities. Arkansas, 66,000, and they have not reached 1,000. They're barely over 900 with 928. In the U.S. now, 6.5 million cases, 195,000 fatalities, are getting very close to that. However, 3.9 million recoveries, and around the world, 28.2 million, 911,000 who have perished, but now 20 million out of those 28.2, 20 million have recovered.
My not top story, the Milwaukee Brewers yesterday, when we talked about it, Dave said the 19-run pool, they get 19, and it isn't close to the high runs team of the day.
Nope.
Atlanta explodes. Okay, explodes may not be the right word. 29 runs. San Francisco scored 10 late last night against Seattle, but 29-9 for the Braves. Tonight's football game will go over 38, but there will be many football games this weekend played that yesterday's baseball had more points scored than football will have.
29 runs, ties the record for the second most since 1900.
Have you seen the box score?
No.
It's a freak show.
Well, how many pitchers pitched?
Everybody.
I mean, and I think
you scored 9 and lose by 20.
When you told me, we were talking about the runs yesterday with the 19, and I'm saying, what's the real reason? Because I know run production is up, and it keeps going up and up and up, and it's clear. Even though we're playing 14-inning doubleheaders, 7 innings apiece, and we're trying to get the extra innings out of the way quicker by putting a man on second base in the 10th inning and every half inning after that. It's clear we've run out of arms. We have overused the arms we have. I say that, and then Trevor Bauer almost had a complete game against the Cubs.
Do you know a save was recorded in the 29-9 game? Because he pitched 3 or more innings.
That's crazy.
47 at bats for Atlanta, 17 left on base for Atlanta.
Was he a pitcher or a catcher?
Miami allowed 29. They only recorded 24 outs because they didn't need the 9th inning to bat.
It's crazy stuff. It's just nuts. It really is. But we got it. I mean, I can't wait for the playoffs. Because the playoffs will, I think, resemble a little bit more.
Roll out the ceremonial bunting, introduce them out to the line.
We're not doing the runner on second base in the playoffs, are we?
Baseball officially said today we're playing baseball in the playoffs.
Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness for that. Little miracles. No 7-inning games either. That's crazy. That is nutso. And that is your top and your not top stories. We're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios, and a reminder, the world's biggest spa sale is going on and will go on all the way through October, where you're getting up to 30% off spas and those big swim spas. You've got hundreds of different spas from multiple manufacturers to choose from. Some of these are just incredible technology, state-of-the-art. You got to go see it. Special financing is available. There's a big gashing of the price on chemicals and accessories because we are coming toward the end of summer. Professional delivery is available if you want it. All you got to do is get there, I-40 and Whidden Road. Tell them we sent you. Make your patio, make your backyard a staycation palace. Go see my friends at Family Leisure. We're officially underway on this Thursday on Sportstime.
Spend your lunch with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 middays, delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Jim Gray from Westwood One here with an NFL Kickoff 2020 preview. From Kansas City, the season gets started with Patrick Mahomes and the Super Bowl champion Chiefs hosting Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans. In spite of the unique challenges this year, Texans head coach Bill O'Brien says his team can't wait.
We know we're playing a great opponent, and we feel like we're pretty good. So it's going to be an historic game. I mean, you think about, this game being played during a pandemic, with everything that this league has gone through to get to this point, it's a privilege and an honor to play in this game.
Don't miss any of the action, including my visits with Tom Brady and Larry Fitzgerald back with us once again in the pregame show. Then it's the Texans and the Chiefs on NFL Kickoff 2020.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Napa know-how.
Get all the quality parts you need at your locally owned Napa. Because right now, when you order from Napa online, you can pick up curbside at your local store in just 30 minutes. Or get your order delivered direct to your door with free one-day shipping on over 160,000 quality parts when you spend $35 or more. Quality parts delivered quickly and safely. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating stores, standard ground shipping and exclusions apply.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference. Like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
We're going to talk some college football with the Sporting News Bill Bender in a minute. We're talking baseball, and I meant to bring this up. Did you see Clayton Kershaw? He was complaining about extra innings this year. He says, this is not real baseball.
Yeah, and they've been great in them.
Yeah, I was just going to say, but manager Dave Roberts said, no, I like this because the Dodgers are 5-1 in extra innings.
They've had a lot of strategy, but the Dodgers would have been fine if they'd been 0-5 in it. And the pressure will really start for them when October hits.
Yep, and it's right around the corner because we've got college football tonight. We had college football.
We did, Dave.
Last week.
And you got to remember, 2 out of 3 in that first round. It'll be Dodgers as the 1 seed against the 8th seed. But you say that if that 8th seed goes out and wins game 1, you talking about the pressure.
You got to win.
Got to win.
Same thing for everybody, though. That's what I love about it. I really do. It is fall. It really is. We're here because we played college football last week. Bill Bender from the Sporting News, college football analyst, joins us as he always does in this time slot. So I know you had to watch some of the Tigers. I'm just curious what you thought about Memphis and the American. Bill, good afternoon.
Yeah, they won the game, and that's the start. And, Brady White looked pretty good. Looks like they'll be okay without Kenneth Gainwell. Arkansas State's a pretty plucky team, though.
Yeah.
They played well, especially in the first half. I just think one of those possession games, they ran out of shots. And but yeah, nonetheless, it was fun to watch some football last week, and it'll be a little bit better this week because some of the top dog quarterbacks will be in action.
And 2 of those will be on display in the ACC. Ian Book and Trevor Lawrence. If I wanted to take a flyer on a preseason, and I'm not because I'm a voter, so I don't want to be prejudiced or jaundiced whatsoever, but I don't know why, Bill, but I'm really pulled toward Ian Book if there's going to be – now, he's not going to do what Joe Burrow did last year, but kind of a back-of-the-pack winner. Trevor Lawrence is easy to pick, but I love Ian Book, and Notre Dame, they go against the Dukies Saturday.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that ACC logo on their field. That'll be there at least for this year. And you mentioned Ian Book, experienced quarterback. And I guess the big question with him, Brett, is can he take them to that next level? He's taken them to the playoffs. He's won a bunch of big games. He's lost a couple. And I think he's one of those quarterbacks where kind of falls under the category we only really talk about him when he has a rough game. And he only had 2 last year in Michigan. And, that's where he's at. So the pressure will be on. I think it's really interesting to see him and that team. And that's probably the game I'll be most locked into in that middle slot with the Irish and what they got coming back.
You just said something interesting. You said the ACC logo on that field for at least this year. Are you implying, do you have any insight into the possibility that the Notre Dame Fighting Irish would join the ACC full-time and not be an independent football anymore?
I guess some of that will be affected by this year. Some will be impacted by the economics of COVID in general. I mean, athletic departments. I would still guess they'd go back to independent status as soon as possible, and a large reason why is that NBC TV money is nice. And but I think it's one of the dominant storylines of this season is seeing Notre Dame in the conference for the first time and wondering, and we don't have to wonder. And just the biggest what if to me is, okay, what if they go in and win the conference? What a story that would be.
It would be. And then they could say, we don't need no stinking conference. We were in one year and we dusted everybody.
Absolutely. And it's one of those kind of I told you so's in a lot of ways. There's going to just be I told you so's all over the place in college football this year, and that's another one.
Great point. Boy, it really will, Bill. It's going to be in the SEC, you're going to hear from some, all we should be doing is playing conference only anyway. And then from others go, no, give me some of those games against Presbyterian.
Yeah, exactly. And it really is. I mean, and I told you so even from the standpoint of you should have played or you shouldn't have played.
Well, that's the biggest one of all. And
right.
Let me ask you, because I know you're really tuned in to the Big Ten. and we've seen political pressure from the president on down now to put the heat on the chancellors and the presidents in the Big Ten to play this fall. What do you think ultimately will be their answer?
I mean, if they play, it's going to be late October, and that clock keeps ticking. They're running out of time in terms of getting a start date that would match up with the college football playoff. I get that there's this notion that they still might start in November and do their own thing and have their own separate season and a safe one and all those kind of things. But I'm just judging by what Ryan Day tweeted today. Buckeyes don't want that. They want to go now. And I think some of those other teams, that's the thing, is the vote was 11-3.
Right.
So how many schools can you really sway to play if they don't want to play? And that's the big question. There's going to be a lot of hurt feelings regardless, but, it sounds like they may try to come to a decision next week. But I'll tell you both, they got to come to a decision fast. I mean, like Ryan said in the tweet, Wake Forest, Notre Dame's playing this weekend. Why can't they?
By their own governance, Bill Bender, I believe they have to have 9 votes to change this vote. We know it was 11-3. Do you really believe they could get 6 swing votes? Like, I think the University of Michigan president has made it pretty clear they're not interested really in playing, and she and John Harbaugh are locked in. He and John Harbaugh are locked into a huge debate. So, do you think he can get, or the league could get enough votes to swing that?
I think they need to get Michigan to play. That's the yang to Ohio State's yin, and they need them because the political pressure that's right there. I mean, look at this. If I'm Jim, I know we spend a lot of time on this show talking about Jim Harbaugh and his coaching and his inability to beat Ohio State. I would, if I were him, and they vote not to play, I don't know if I'd stick around. I think I'd look for the NFL job or something else, because if you don't have your president's backing when you want to play, it's pretty clear they want to play. Their players definitely want to play. I don't know if I'd hang around. I mean, think about that. I mean, he wants to play in a season where almost everybody thinks Ohio State's just going to rule through everybody anyway. But, it is – I think he's on what he believes in, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Bill, we know that the Michigan Wolverines was a dream college job for Jim Harbaugh. Can you report? Do you know of a dream destination? We know he was real good with the 49ers and got to the Harbaugh brothers Super Bowl down in New Orleans, but does he have a dream landing spot in the NFL? He was a good Bear, played for a tough guy in Mike Ditka. Who knows?
That job could be open.
That job could be open nearby Detroit. Could be open after this year with Matt Patricia. Does he have a dream job?
I don't know. He has. I mean, he coached at San Francisco. He did really well. And one of the things I like to point out to people is top 5 winning percentage all time in the NFL. That's pretty amazing. I think he's like 44-19-1 or something.
Got the best football out of Colin Kaepernick and Alex Smith. I think that's unarguable.
Right, and that game changed a little bit, but I think I've always thought, my one-liner with Harbaugh's always been, I think he's a better NFL coach than college coach, but I think he's better for college football than he is for the NFL. And, but I mean, his brother's had a long, successful career with Baltimore where he's evolved. I mean, obviously Baltimore's among the Super Bowl favorites this year, and you got a quarterback that he can continue to run that around. But as far as the dream job, I don't know. I mean, if Chicago came open, I'm sure he'd be a candidate. I mean, but I would say he would be a candidate for any one of the 32 openings if they popped open. And he has that kind of, power. I still think he has that much behind his name in the NFL. It might not be what it used to be, but I still think he'd be pretty successful.
What about this crazy scenario? Michigan says, no, we're not playing football this year. Middle of October, they're 0 and whatever. New York Jets hire him in season, say, get started on the rebuild.
I mean, not ridiculous, but I would think he would go somewhere next year. And again, this is the frustrating part for him has to be, I think, Jim Harbaugh's strength at the college level is he's one of the best advocates for student athletes among all the FBS coaches. He really is. I mean, he says some things that people go wild about, but I mean, I haven't seen one interest where he's not doing what's best for his student athletes. He's taking them on trips, and he's advocated for one-time transfer rules and all those kind of things, and he's been very upfront about it. So that would be the loss for Michigan if he went to the next level. And clearly there's some disconnect between him and President Schlissel because, I mean, he said it last week. They haven't met in person. They've only exchanged a few texts, and I think that's very telling of where Michigan is as a university versus as a football program, and it's a very different world than how they feel in Columbus.
I think, we call it his dream job, and I think it was, but I think it's become a nightmare. I can't think of, you love him, and I still respect and admire him. I really do. But I think for the most part, there are a lot of people who are down on Jim Harbaugh. They don't think he can beat Ohio State, so he's lost some of that where that aura where he could beat anybody. Well, he can't beat that team, and that's the one team he's got to be able to beat. He's taken knocks for some of the things that he's tried to pull off that were stymied. I don't think this has been a good experience for him. I really don't.
I think he's upgraded Michigan, though. Michigan was a mess before he got there. Not beating Ohio State is everybody's problem in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. Michigan just feels the brunt of it more than everybody else. You don't hear people saying, well, Wisconsin can't beat Ohio State. They haven't beat Ohio State since J.J. Watt was there. You don't see people saying, well, Penn State can't beat Ohio State. They've done it once since Urban Meyer arrived. And I pull this stat out all the time to people. I say, well, Wisconsin, Penn State, Michigan, since Urban Meyer arrived in Columbus, are combined 1-22 against the Buckeyes. And yet the only school we talk about is Michigan. But that's the nature of that job. They expect you to beat Ohio State. He was expected to do that. He did come in with a ton of hype. He has struggled in top 10 games. But I still think Michigan's better off with him. And the other thing is closing that gap with Ohio State. It's like, I guess the difference in the SEC is Auburn's picked off Alabama a couple times. LSU's been able to, they finally broke their streak to Alabama last year and won a natty national title. Michigan's kind of in that Georgia spot, I guess. Like, Georgia's done some good things. They just haven't won a national championship.
Most people would love to be in that spot, but for those two big, splashy programs, they are right there in the Hall of Good.
Well, Georgia's at least been to the playoff. But again, like, imagine being Georgia, where you finally break through and you get to the playoff, you win an SEC championship with Kirby, and then you lose to Alabama in the championship game, who a lot of people didn't think should have been in the playoff that year because they didn't win their conference.
In Atlanta. I mean, everything was set up for them.
Yeah, that's the nightmare of being Georgia in a lot of ways. So, that's a lot of programs are just feeling that. And I think beating Ohio State is definitely not just Michigan's problem. It's just like in the SEC, it's beating Alabama isn't just an Auburn problem, it's everybody's problem. Beating Clemson in the ACC, Clemson's 43-2 in the ACC the last 5 years. It's like saying, well, Miami's got to go out there and beat Clemson. Well, sometimes it's not that realistic.
Before we let you go, I know you said you're going to really be locked into Duke at Notre Dame, and I'm with you there. Clemson's at Wake Forest, so we get to see the number one team in the country. And Syracuse is at North Carolina. What are some of the other games that really intrigue you this week?
I'll watch Iowa State, Louisiana a little bit, see if Louisiana can pull an upset there.
Good coaching matchup.
North Carolina had a great offseason, and they play Syracuse early with Sam Howell, but Syracuse has got an offense that can make you uncomfortable if they get rolling. We'll see if they're consistent from week to week. And tonight, I'm going to put on Miami UAB.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see this new Miami offense and up against the UAB team that's got a game in the books and got two good running backs and has a great coach in Bill Clark. So I'll be doing some 2TVing tonight. Obviously with Kansas City and Houston, we're excited, but I'll definitely check out UAB in Miami, see how that works.
And see De'Ara King. De'Ara King's an exciting player.
Absolutely.
As always, my friend, we appreciate it. So you think by the time we talk next week, the Big Ten will have made a decision?
We'll see, but that's a soap opera, and I will see. I think they'll have to have something out there because, again, we're just getting on that time where, if you're September 19th and you haven't made a decision, well, the SEC is coming to town the next weekend, so they better come up with something quick.
They sure better. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it as always. Looking forward to having more and more games that we can really kind of chew on as it's just absolutely terrific that we've got football against all odds, but it's here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks so much as always.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. From the Sporting News, he's brought to you in part by Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions. Okay, we've had a bunch of rain. Did you look up just to see? I tell people this all the time because I've had some tough luck with roofs. Always check. Don't let rainfall or windstorms or any natural thing, don't let that make your roof an essential emergency service. It is sometimes, but if you don't let the problem get bad by being proactive, you're going to feel a whole lot better. And believe me, the guy that calls Brian Elder Roofing Solutions, you know that number, it's catchy, 867-0303. That's 901-867-0303. 0303. He'll come out. He'll take a look around. He'll check inside. He'll check outside. They have all the new technology. He'll tell you. They'll measure your roof from outer space. They'll really do that. And they only use the best products in the market. They also provide what I think is the best warranty for roofing, period. It's called the No Questions Asked warranty. So if you got a problem, he makes sure you feel good in the end. 901-867-0303. If you haven't looked at your roof lately, let Brian Elder take care of all that chore for you. Back in just a minute, we put a wrap on this very first hour of this Thursday edition of Sports Time.
Want to get your voice heard? Hit us up on the First Bank phone line or First Bank text line.
I'm John Conway with Conway Services. When was the last time you had your air conditioning system tuned up? What about your heating system safety check? Good news, you can get both at the same time this month. Call Conway Services for our 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your air conditioning system for only $69. We'll remove years of dirt, grime, and leaves from your air conditioning system. It's like taking your air conditioner to a car wash, all for only $69. And we'll include a heating system safety check at no charge. That's right, Conway Services 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up for only $69, and we'll include a heating system safety check at no charge, making sure your heating system is ready for this winter. If that's not enough, we'll include a carbon monoxide test, all for only $69. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. And call this week, and we'll perform your super tune-up for only $57 with a free heating system safety check.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
If ever there was a time for comfort food, this is it. And there's no comfort food like Sunrise on Jefferson. Fresh-made breakfast featuring Sunrise's signature homemade square biscuits or the huge selection of hot, fresh, and fast lunch items are all part of what has always made Sunrise the most comforting of comfort foods in Memphis. Of course, everything that can be done to keep you and the staff safe at Sunrise is a top priority. And you can always order ahead and get delicious Sunrise to go. At a time this confusing, it's good to know there's one thing you can count on: Sunrise.
Napa know-how.
Get all the quality parts you need at your locally owned Napa. Because right now, when you order from Napa online, you can pick up curbside at your local store in just 30 minutes. Or get your order delivered direct to your door with free one-day shipping on over 160,000 quality parts when you spend $35 or more. Quality parts delivered quickly and safely. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating stores, standard ground shipping and exclusions apply.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Voloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
What I'm saying is, this is the anthem. Throw all your hands up. Y'all got to feel me. Sing it, you with me, yeah.
Welcome back in here. Last night, that was fun. Watching Toronto survive and get to Game 7.
Classic.
They had to hit that Ananabu prayer shot. What was that, Game 3? to stay in the series.
Prayer answered.
And then down 3-1, now 3-3. Man, that has been fun to watch. And Kyle Lowry, he was so clutch. So was Powell last night.
A lot of ifs here. If the Raptors go on and win this series, get back to the finals, win in the next round, win the finals, and if they go back-to-back, that really helps Kyle Lowry, and he's a key part of it. Would that put him on the verge of a Hall of Fame?
We'd have 2 titles.
And then fill in more of the back of the basketball card, points, steals, all that.
Right. He would have done the second title, and we're a long way from that.
Long way.
He would have won that second title without the guy that was really the star of the team a year ago, and that is Kawhi Leonard. He would have done that as really being the key guy without question. He's doing it, by the way, without Marc Gasol's sort of role. Marc Gasol had a bigger role last year than he did this year.
Yeah, to do it without Kawhi, that's bonus points.
Well, it obviously worked out well for the Grizzlies that Mike Conley stuck around.
It did. It worked out well for the Grizzlies, but Kyle Lowry's better, isn't he?
If you look at just
more
the achievements,
sure.
If you look at those achievements, he's been an all-star. Conley never was. Now, there was more talent, honestly,
in the West
than there was in the East when Lowry's made it. But he's made it. He's been an all-star. That's just, I guess, some sort of tough luck. And he's got a title. And Mike's never gotten past the Western Conference Finals.
That's it. And I wouldn't change a thing. I think they made the right choice then. It worked really. All's well that ends well for everyone. But Kyle Lowry is certainly more accomplished, and I think just game in, game out, he has proven to be better.
Yeah. I think it's hard to argue that.
But I love the core four, and I love what they did for us.
Well,
and it was some fun
and
nights.
I think Kyle Lowry kind of forced their hand too.
He did.
He was acting like he wanted out of here, and they accommodated. And frankly, Lionel Hollins liked Mike Conley better.
Yeah.
And honestly, would Kyle Lowry have gotten along with Allen, Zebo, and Gasol the way that Conley did? We'll never know.
We'll never know that. We won't know that he would have stayed here with the duration that Mike Conley did. And we don't know if he would have become as beloved as Mike Conley did. Mike Conley place in Memphis sports history and Grizzlies fans' hearts. It's there. I'm not trying to strip anybody of their fond memories, but I think now for a lot of years the debate was just simply which one's better, and I think now that answer is irrefutable.
I think it's
not
slightly
your favorite.
It's slightly better, but we don't know if it would have been better for this team.
That's right.
And here's the other thing. Right now, he's a mature star, right? He had a lot of growing up to do.
He did.
I don't think he was that way until last year.
And Dave, time and place, timing's everything in life. The old what if Barry Sanders had been with the Cowboys and Emmitt Smith had been with the Lions, if Archie Manning had been with the Steelers and Terry Bradshaw had been with the Saints.
Right. How about this hard one for you? You're talking possible Hall of Fame. He's got, he'd have 2. What if they get knocked off in Game 7, which is probably the more likely odds scenario, that they don't win that game? Is he a Hall of Fame guy with the 1 and that? So, yeah.
He needs more. He's Hall of Good.
He's Hall of Good, but so is Mike. But so is Conley.
That's right. But there's no building and no ceremony for Hall of Good.
The one thing we can say that Lowry does have for sure is he's got an All-Star appearance and he's got a ring.
Drew, let's open up a Hall of Good.
I'm down for it because we need to. There has to be at least like a wing or something of Hall of Good.
No, the Hall of Fame doesn't want good near it.
I didn't mean like a wing, but maybe we'll have like the Hall of Fame, and then across the street we'll just have like 2 shacks put together for the Hall of Good.
Hall of Fame in Springfield, Mass. We put Hall of Good in Springfield, Missouri.
Works for me.
Well, Springfield, Missouri would take that. Yeah, they love any kind of touristy kind of a thing. I'm just thinking, there's no question Drew's for that, because if you take the Baltimore Royals the last 10 years.
Oh,
I mean,
Dave,
that's all you
and
could
on
get.
the way
that's
out.
All
you can go
get.
and leave right now if you want.
Gift on a Thursday, just a shot right to the kazoo at Drew's.
Well, you know what?
Yeah, music's playing, Dave. You need to leave.
Man, Dave, That's just not like Dave. You're not that person. What has become of you? Just a salvo on the way out.
I'm sorry, Drew. Your Baltimore Ravens are good.
Somebody says they're sorry. Take the apology, Drew.
You are forgiven.
Final portion of this hour brought to you by Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. Do you want that dream home? Maybe you want that renovation. I call it renovation with innovation because that's where he takes all the modern amenities in your older home, like the big California closets, the huge kitchens with the new cabinets in the island, everything, the wires in the wall for speakers, everything. He does it. He makes your older home a modern palace. And that's what his dad and him have done for 50 years. Please go take a look at kengarland.com. You see what I'm talking about. Maybe you've got land in your family. You'd like to build that dream home. You're not sure what to do. He can tell you. Maybe you're looking for land. He's got it. Maybe you'd like a new development that's really starting to take off. He's involved with Boyle in a new development called the Leylon. It's a gated community on Messick Road east of Kirby all the way to McVeigh. 4-bedroom homes starting at $875,000. If you're ready for your dream home or that renovation, please call my guy. You'll love him. He sees little details and the big picture all at once. He's a rare guy, really is. 751-1632, that's the number. 751-1632. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. That's an hour in the books. Coming up, our good friend Keith Smith down in Orlando. A lot of NBA talk coming. I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you on TV at 6 o'clock on Channel 30 with the 901 FC against Charlotte FC. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
Did you know that right now Geico is offering an extra 15% credit on car, motorcycle, and RV policies? That's 15% on top of the money Geico could already save you. So what are you waiting for? Your dog to make you breakfast in bed with Belgian waffles and fresh fruit compote? As nice as that sounds, that's probably never going to happen. But at least there's never been a better time to switch to Geico. Save an extra 15% when you switch to Geico by October 7th. Visit geico.com to learn more.
I'm here with the outstanding team from Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway. They're online at lexusofmemphis.com. Gary, tell everyone how they can experience the Lexus of Memphis satisfaction.
Come in and be a part of our family at Lexus of Memphis. Experience the customer service that we provide to each guest like a member of our own family. If you're on the side of the road and you need us, we're there. If you need help with anything with your car, technology, Bluetooth, the app suite, we have a dedicated team to help you with this in your journey with your Lexus.
That's how they do it at Lexus of Memphis.
Tired of lying awake, tossing and turning, just hoping for a few hours of sleep? Get the sleep you crave with the one-of-a-kind Tempur-Pedic. Only Tempur-Pedic uses proprietary Tempur material that continuously adapts and responds to your body to relieve pressure, so you get deep, uninterrupted sleep all night, every night. The Tempur-Pedic Summer of Sleep is going on now. Take advantage of our best offer of the year and experience your best sleep of the summer. All Tempur-Pedic mattresses are on sale with select savings up to $500. Learn more at Tempur-Pedic.com.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 115 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. So easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk, chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. Stock up heavy on all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Dave has eased away. He's heading downtown to AutoZone Park, even though Memphis 901, they're on the road. He's calling the game from there tonight. You can watch that game at 6 o'clock right after the evening news on WLMT Channel 30 with Memphis 901 needing to win. Must win really for both. No ties tonight for that one for Memphis 901. We talk NBA at this time every week since the bubble began, and we do it with Keith Smith. He's on Twitter at Keith Smith NBA. He writes for Yahoo Sports, worked for Celtics blog, front office show at Real GM, and is one of those, and I mean it, he is one of those must NBA follows as the bubble is really starting to wind down as we're getting closer to the end. Some teams out of it we didn't think would be out of it this soon, and that's the Milwaukee Bucks. We talk with Keith Smith about that now as he joins us, and so glad to have you with us, Keith Smith. Let's start with the Bucks exit. It was at best ugly and at worst really ugly.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, very unexpected. We probably should have seen it coming when they struggled so mightily with the Orlando Magic, who were extremely undermanned. They were without Aaron Gordon and Jonathan Isaac in that first round series, and Evan Fournier just wasn't himself. And Orlando really gave the Bucks fits, and that probably should have been the warning sign we needed, that it was going to be tough. And Miami came in with a good game plan on both ends of the floor, executed it really, really well, and took care of business. And now it's going to be a whole offseason of questions for Milwaukee leading into, is Giannis going to sign there long-term, stay? Is he going to take the Supermax? Is he not going to? How's that going to work out? So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens with the future of the Bucks.
Keith, from what you're hearing, especially around the Bucks organization, what's their confidence level right now that they will be able to sign Giannis after next year to a Supermax and keep him in Milwaukee?
Yeah, they're extremely confident that he's going to stay there, and they very much believe. When he went on the record shortly after they were locked out to my colleague at Yahoo Sports, Chris Haynes, and said, I am not asking for a trade. I don't want to do that. They believe him, and they believe he is wants to be there. One of the things that's a little bit different with Giannis Antetokounmpo than a lot of other times when major guys hit the free agent market is it's important to remember he's not from the United States. So there's a couple things that happen with those players when they come here. Look at guys like Dirk Nowitzki, for example, Manu Ginobili. When they get into the United States, the team that they're with, that team, that city, that's not only their NBA home, that's home in the United States for them. And they don't pack up and move like other guys do. It's not how they grew up. A lot of these guys, stay with their club overseas for a long time, then they come here, and it just works a little bit differently. So there's a belief that Giannis is a loyal guy to the Bucks. He's loyal to the city of Milwaukee in that area, and he wants to be there. So they believe that. But one thing I will say is everybody believes that right up until the moment they don't. And then that's when things start to get real interesting.
What's the biggest thing they need to put around him? What does Mike Budenholzer need to really go out there a little more fortified, just to have a little more?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I don't know that Mike Budenholzer's the guy. What they really need is that they need him to change his coaching style. He builds these fantastic regular season systems on both ends of the floor. He did it with Atlanta. Now he's done it with Milwaukee, where you pile up wins, because what happens is they they execute it better than just about anybody does in the regular season. And in the regular season, teams do not have time to game plan for individual opponents. That's just not a luxury you have in the NBA. And then when you get into the playoffs, though, and you know you're going to see a team somewhere between 4 and 7 games over a 2-week period, you can really dive in and say, all right, here's what we're going to do against the way they like to play. And that makes it tough. And when Budenholzer refuses to adjust his game plan, his defensive system, his rotation pattern, that makes it really, really hard. Now, what they really need on the court is they need another player who can break down the defense off the dribble. They need somebody who can create easy offense for them as well as for themselves, because what you really saw, even when Giannis was playing, they didn't have enough offensive creators against a pretty good Heat team. When they were able to wall them off in transition, they didn't have anybody who could go get a bucket in the half court.
Keith, I said earlier in the week, and the good side of this comparison is very complimentary. The other side, the comparison, is not so much. Are we seeing Bud before our very eyes become George Karl?
Yeah, there could be a little bit of that. Now, I think, George Karl, his issue was always a little more on the offensive end, that his teams never seemed to quite perform the way you would hope. He always built a pretty good defense. But yeah, I'm afraid with Budenholzer, what you're going to see is he could settle into this, and it's a perfectly good, fine way to make a long career. It's just not very fulfilling. Is he becomes the guy who builds up a bad team, gets them so far, and then somebody else steps in to take them over the top. And we've seen coaches become that guy in the past in the NBA, and they've had long careers doing those kind of things. The challenge is it's not very fulfilling because you're never there to see it all the way through.
Switching over to the team that just beat the Bucks, Miami obviously looked great against Milwaukee, but do you think they have a legitimate shot to reach the NBA Finals just due to the fact of how great the Raptors-Celtics have both been playing lately?
Yeah, no, they absolutely do because of the way they play defense and the way they shoot the ball. When you look at Miami, their defense is going to be locked in. Eric Spoelstra is going to throw something at either Boston or Toronto, whoever advances, that they haven't seen before. It's going to be some kind of new weird zone or some kind of man coverage scheme that looks completely different from what they've seen, and that's going to be really important. And then I think as you look at their offense, they will take a million three-pointers if that's what's open to them, and they'll keep taking them. The challenge for them against both Boston and Toronto is they need Goran Dragic and Jimmy Butler to be so good, again, in the half court, off the dribble, creating offense for everybody else, and that's a big ask against those two defenses because those defenses are arguably maybe the two best in the NBA that are left, especially with the way they will load to the ball. They'll take away what you're comfortable with, and they're going to make you really work and grind it out. So that's going to be the question is, are Dragic and Butler going to be up to the task against either Boston or Toronto's defense?
At Kentucky and in pre-draft workouts, did you see Bam Adebayo developing into this? At Kentucky, I was reading a story the other day by John Clay, the veteran writer and chronicler of all things Cat's Paws and Big Blue Nation basketball. I think he said, he didn't average many assists at Kentucky. He does it all now.
Yeah, he absolutely does. The challenge at Kentucky is it's 10 All-Americans playing together, so nobody ever really stands out. It's kind of almost the same issue that happens at Duke. You have to kind of take any statistical profile there. You got to kind of look at it more of what am I seeing with the eye test versus just looking at stats, because when you have teams and rosters that are that deep, guys don't generally put up individual stats. Now that said, when one does, it really pops because it's like, oh, wait a minute here. Now we got something. But yeah, he has come into the NBA and really he's adopted right into that Heat culture. He's a hardworking kid. He wants to get after it. He wants to be better all the time. We knew he was going to be a good defender and a good rebounder. We knew that right away. Thought offensively he'd be pretty good as a roll man, guy who could dive to the rim and those kind of things. But he's shown his ability to really kind of run an offense from the high post has been extremely impressive, and not very many people saw that coming.
And that Heat culture that you mentioned, it really starts from ownership to Riley to Spoelstra, doesn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely does. Well, what they, make sure everybody knows is when you come here, you're going to work. And if you don't want to work, you're not going to be here very long. And if you are, because a lot of people say, oh, we'll just cut a guy. It doesn't necessarily work that way in the NBA. There's, with the guaranteed contracts and the like. But what it's going to be is you're just going to sit. You're just not going to play, and that'll be how it is. And they've been able to get a lot out of guys that unfortunately, I think what you're going to start seeing is as their roster gets a little more expensive and they start to trend towards, maybe in free agency in the summer of 2021, they go for the big splash. You're going to see some of the other guys who have priced themselves out a little bit go other places, and all of a sudden those teams are going to be, wait a minute, why is this guy not quite as good as what we thought? It's going to be because they got away from that system and that culture in Miami, and that's it's not making players, but what it's doing is it's allowing players to play at their very best.
Staying in the Eastern Conference to the other series going on, obviously we have Game 7 tomorrow between the Raptors and Celtics. How come the Celtics just haven't been able to make that final blow? Because you watched those first two games of the series, you thought Boston had it all wrapped up. Raptors come back in Game 3, get very lucky at a last-second shot, and now it just seems Boston can't seem to close out a game. What's going on with them?
Yeah, it's not the Celtics, it's the Raptors. I 100% believe in, I know it might sound corny and cheesy, but the heart of a champion stuff, and they've got that. They are, you're going to have to beat them. Yep, that's it. You've got to beat them. They are not going to beat themselves. They are not going to take themselves out of this thing. They are, battling the whole way. I think I've probably told you guys this before, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but one of my favorite stories in the NBA this year has been the Raptors and the way they've gotten after this title defense. I think, everything that they've done has been what you want to see a team do when they come to defend it. So, yeah, there's definitely things the Celtics can do better. They need to take better advantage when they get up. They need to keep pressing and keep Toronto down and just make sure that they just keep playing through and try to get the game, finished out. But Toronto, they're not easy to close out. Their challenge, again, it sounds weird to say it's this way, and I sound like I'm repeating myself, but I am for good reason. They struggle against Boston half-court defense. They just cannot find good shots on so many trips. It almost has to be a Boston breakdown for Toronto to get a good shot, or they have to make miracle shots. And that's what you saw, a few times in the series. You've seen guys make just absolutely incredible shots. Most recently, Kyle Lowry last night made a whole bunch of great shots to give them that double overtime win.
I referenced you earlier today in your tweet and your reporting and the acknowledgement that Brad Stevens didn't even know that Monday was Labor Day. That locked in, just that insulated, quite literally in a bubble, as those guys can get even when they're not in a bubble. We know historically that they have had one of the great cultures in the history of American sport with the parquet and all the winning. Have the Celtics established a Heat-like culture under Brad Stevens?
I think what they've established is it's a little bit different from Miami. It's not that it's not about hard work and putting in the effort, but I think what the Celtics have established is it doesn't really matter what you did yesterday. It's all about what are you going to do today and what are you going to do going forward. Brad Stevens, probably better than any coach I've ever covered. He post game after a win, all right, what's next? Post game after a loss, all right, what's next? It's never really overly focused. Now, that's not to say they won't go back and use some of the things to teach and to learn from and in those things from the prior games, but they don't spend a lot of time. It would have been very easy for Brad Stevens to be frustrated. You could tell, especially if you watch the team all the time, as I do. He was frustrated with the officiating. He was having some issues there last night. It would have been very easy for him to just kind of bring that up, not in a real negative way or a way that was going to cost him any money, but he doesn't do that. He never has. He's never been that coach. And there's some criticism he takes for that. Sometimes the fans want him to be a little more fiery, but I think with Brad Stevens, what you see is nothing we can do about it. That game's over now. We're going to go, we're going to look at the tape, learn what we can, but it's all about moving forward. And that's the mindset that his players adopt. And if you're going to be someone who gets caught up and lives, in the past in Boston, you're not going to last very long. You've got to be able to move forward to the next play.
Keith, speaking of coaches and a guy that I think really overperformed this year, Billy Donovan there at OKC, now parting ways with the Thunder. How long do you think he stays jobless? And out of the jobs available this year, which one do you think he probably fits in best?
Yeah, I think you're definitely going to see him get hired somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if Philadelphia, it seems like they really have their eyes set on Ty Lue, but it seems like Ty Lue is being very patient. He's taking his time. He's making sure he's going to pick the right spot. I think a lot of folks were interested to see if Milwaukee let Mike Budenholzer go. That would have become obviously a prime job opening, and that's now not going to happen. The Bucks came out and said that. So what you're looking at now is I think you're going to see Philadelphia try and close a deal with Ty Lue. If they can't, I think Billy Donovan would fit in fantastic there. He's done a good job. He can remember when he first started, he had to come right in and manage Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and a bunch of superstars and egos and everything else. And he did a really good job there. He's done a great job, keeping that team on task. If not there, I could see him with a team like Chicago or Indiana. Chicago needs a steady hand and someone who can lift them and get them up to that next level. And I think Billy Donovan's the kind of guy who can do that. So I don't think he's going to be out of work very long.
Keith, in the next 3 years, Cornbread Maxwell's great saying, great axiom is, Father Time, he remains undefeated. If these premier college basketball jobs with these legacy coaches, Boeheim at Syracuse, Roy Williams at North Carolina, Mike Krzyzewski at Duke, Bill Self at Kansas, John Calipari at Kentucky, some of those jobs are going to open. Their first swing's got to be at somebody like Brad Stevens and Billy Donovan. But it appears like both of those guys look like they're set on the NBA trajectory, the lifer trajectory the rest of the way, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right on that last part. I know Indiana has tried to hire Brad Stevens since he's been in Boston, and he really doesn't have any interest in it. I think if there was going to be a job he was going to leave the Celtics for, would be to go back home and lead the Hoosiers and try to get them on top. There's all this speculation of Coach K has his guy picked, but these guys are also smart enough to know the other old saying of you never want to follow the legend. Let somebody else be the next guy through the door, and take that, because no matter what you do, unless you come right in and start winning championships right away. If that happens, you're gonna you want them with that guy's players.
Yeah.
If that doesn't happen, yeah, exactly, absolutely. Yeah. I can't think of his name now, but behind he came in behind Dean Smith, not Roy Williams in between.
Brad Daugherty.
No, Matt Daugherty.
Matt Daugherty. That's right. Matt Daugherty.
Yeah, he got that too. Was you're winning with Dean Smith's players. I mean that's that's tough for those guys. So I don't know. I can also tell you too. Talking to the guys once they make the jump, a couple have realized, all right, the college game's where I need to be, because they want to be more controlling. They want it to be more about them, which the college game is more about the coach. But the vast majority at the head coach and assistant coach level, they don't want to go back to the grind of, all right, we play, then I got to drive and fly and be all over the country going into these gyms and recruiting these kids and talking to parents and everything. Fred Hoiberg, who I know is back in the college game now, he once said, no way would I ever want to go back unless it's the only thing open to me to coach, because I hated recruiting. And then he added a couple of more colorful words in there too with that. And that's a big part of it.
I think they all hate it. Some of them just fake it better that they like it than others.
Yeah, nobody likes the recruiting. Some are just really, really good at it. And then you've got guys like Calipari and Coach K who show up and, hey, I want you to play for me, and that's it. That's the extent of it, right? And that's the way I would be too. If I was in that position, would be all right, sure. When do I sign my letter of intent? Let's go. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. The other thing too is some of these coaching jobs at the NCAA level may start to lose a little bit of their shine when the NBA they're moving towards getting rid of the one and done rule. They're probably going to start letting kids come back in straight out of high school. They're really passionate about building up this G League pathway program. So I think you might see. I'm not one of these people who says college basketball is going to die, because there's way more players than there are jobs at the professional level. But I do think you're going to see some of the main guys who have a chance to coach in the NBA. That'd be the direction they'd rather go and stay.
It's definitely going to be interesting how the G League is going to work out and how everything's going to look different here in a couple years, like you said, when the one and done is over. But staying with coaching right now and all the jobs that are open today, do you think a guy, an NBA lifer who's really only gotten one real shot at being an NBA head coach like JB Bickerstaff deserves or could get another shot this year?
Yeah, he is. He's the Cavs coach, right? So they after they let Bayline go, they're going to
stay with him.
They're going to they're going to stay with him now. But that's a good point. I do think, sometimes in the NBA, well, what you see is we quit on the assistants too quick, where we'll bring them up, and if they don't succeed right away, everybody's kind of out on them, and that's really unfair. It's like any other job. Nobody's really good at it in their first year or so in it, never mind with all the high-profile pressure and eyes that are on you as an NBA head coach. So I like to see the assistants, get a few years to figure it out. And if they, a team does move on from them quickly, I'd rather see them, move into the next guy, and give that guy a chance once again to get it on a shot. Like, get a guy like Jacques Vaughn. He flamed out with the Orlando Magic, but that was a horrible situation. He was given very poor rosters. The team was very, rough construction of that team. It was never going to work. Nobody could have been successful with that group. You could have Brett Auerbach coaching that group, and they wouldn't have been very good, just with the way it was built. So that's the tough thing there. So I would, hope that a guy like JB Bickerstaff, gets this chance with Cleveland. Problem is, Cleveland's not going to be very good, so he's going to have to really get them to overachieve to keep that job very long.
Keith, when we visit with you next Thursday, who will be the teams remaining?
I think Boston is going to beat Toronto. I think they have proven they are the better team. Toronto, to win these games, has really had to give it everything that they absolutely have and play about as good as they possibly can, where the Celtics can get away with a few more mistakes. So I do think it's going to be a close Game 7, but I do think the Celtics will pull that out and win. So I think you're going to be looking at Boston, Miami, and I think you're going to be looking at the two LA teams. Clippers are up 3-1. I think they're going to get the Nuggets closed out. I think they're there, and I think the Lakers are going to close out the Rockets probably in maybe 5 or 6. Tonight's game will decide that. If they win tonight, I think it's over in 5. The challenge is, once these teams are a game away, Raptors are different, clearly, because that's still a close series. You're in the later part. But if you're looking at a big uphill battle, it starts to look real enticing to get out of that bubble and get home.
Keith, we appreciate your time today. We'll visit next week, and we will follow your coverage of all the NBA, and it's fantastic. We're getting down, I won't say the good stuff. It's already been good, but getting down to the time to maybe hand out some hardware, Western and Eastern, and then ultimately the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Thank you, Keith. We'll visit next week.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Y'all stay safe, you and yours.
Thanks, Keith. Keith Smith talking NBA with us. You can join us at 67129 on the First Bank text line or 360-8255 on the First Bank phone line. Visit firstbankonline.com. That's firstbankonline.com. First Bank, they know what you need. You need a reliable, trustworthy, and they are Memphis banker that can give you an answer, that they make the decisions about you right here in Memphis, not far away places like Birmingham and Knoxville and Atlanta or Nashville, not anywhere, but right here in Memphis. The loan committee, it's right here in Memphis. They make the decisions for you, a direct answer from the First bank you're dealing with. They all have deep Memphis roots in banking and business experience and expertise. Experienced Memphis bankers that you know and trust around town, like the Coach Jeff Hudson or Bill Harder or many, many, many more at First Bank. They have stories and a record of customers reaching high. Community banks are the preferred lender of people building a success story. Build your success story with First Bank. Visit firstbankonline.com. That's firstbankonline.com at 67129. The text line or 360-8255, the telephone line. We will visit with Russell Copeland about here at the bottom of the hour, about 7 minutes on the NFL that starts tonight. Drew, we have a college pick and an NFL pick, and we will do now. I've got Dave's, and I have mine, so I need yours, and I will reveal our picks to you after you pick. The U tonight, minus 14.5, Miami College, minus 14.5 over UAB.
Give me plus 14.5. Give me UAB.
That is exactly what I took, and Dave took the once, and they hope future U. They hadn't been a U in a while.
No, it's been a long time since you can throw up what I'm throwing at the camera and it not be laughed at.
In that bowl game, when, the proverbial, they didn't cross the 50. They didn't cross their own 35 and lost 14-0. That's not to you.
It definitely isn't. I think that they've got a shot to have a decent season, and I mean, by decent, I mean around 500 with De'Aaron King and how well we know he's going to be able to play, having seen him at Houston, but I just don't know if there's enough there, and there's just so much turmoil that's been around that program the last decade, it's going to be very, very hard for them to crawl out of.
They always had noise around that program, but it was always covered up by a whole lot of winning. Now they have noise and not a lot of winning. National Football League tonight, we'll get Russell Copeland's pick. He will break down a couple of the more glamorous games for us, and we'll get his NFC and AFC conference champion and his Super Bowl pick when we visit with him in a few minutes. But tonight, to the lid lifter, Kansas City -9.5 over Houston at Arrowhead. We know it won't be full. We know why. I wish at a lot of the places, especially baseball, Sunday night baseball, ESPN, Cubs and Cardinals really kind of wallowed in and showed several shots of the empty seats. We know they're empty, and we know why.
I don't need to see them. Exactly. And that's what I'm looking forward to, seeing how different it's going to look. I mean, obviously, watching college football, it's looked a little different, but we're kind of used to some
and we know
empty
why.
stadiums in college football.
I mean, nobody's walking by the TV and going, they couldn't sell any tickets at Ole Miss or at Alabama. Or, look, Alabama's almost empty. No, we know why. Nobody's shocked by it tonight. NFL.
I mean, Marshall kind of looks like you would expect Marshall to look like, but
there's going to be a lot of those jokes. Kansas City -9.5. Give me the 9.5 and give me Deshaun Watson. Dave takes Kansas City. Drew takes.
Darn Vegas. I mean, this line is just too perfect.
It's been said before, darn Vegas.
I guess
more than that's been said.
I guess first game of the year, I'll take the under. I'll take the underdog. I'll take the Texans +9.5, but I'm not feeling too confident about it.
And that's an NFL team getting 9.5, and yes, they're playing on the road, but it's not going to be the Thunder normally brought in at Arrowhead, is it?
No,
It'll be
I don't
brought
think
by
so.
Mahomes, but it won't be brought by the proverbial 12th man. That game you can hear tonight right here on these airwaves on Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1. All the action from Westwood One starts at 7 o'clock tonight. Texans at Kansas City. Sunday at noon, Miami at New England. And then Sunday night after the Blue and Gray show, Dallas at the Rams. And then Monday night after Rebel Yell Hotline, the Steelers at the Giants. And then the twofer on Monday night, the late game, Tennessee Titans at the Broncos. I would never say our Titans, would you?
Oh, heck no.
I like them, but I've never thought of them.
They're in the AFC. I can't do it.
They're most certainly not ours.
They're not mine. I mean, I know a lot. To all you Titans fans here in Memphis, sure, they can be yours, but I don't think I'll ever root for the Titans.
I don't dislike them. I've just never felt that affinity for them. When we come back, we'll have a lot of affinity for our next guest. That's Russell Copeland. We'll also congratulate him with his new position on Tigers football broadcast team. He will go on the road as Jarvis is elected to opt out and not go on the road. You'll hear Jarvis with Dave at home games, but Russell's going on the road. We'll congratulate him about that, and we'll talk to him about the NFL. Russell Copeland next on Sportstime.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 96.1 FM, or 87.7 FM.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Golfers, want to know how to fix your slice? Then come to Edwin Watts Golf Shop and check out Callaway's brand new Big Bertha B21 family. The Big Bertha irons have been engineered with AI technology for fast ball speeds and amazing forgiveness. And the all-new Big Bertha woods are made for distance. And the large Big Bertha head is specifically engineered with internal drop bias weighting to help improve your launch angles and promote a straighter, longer ball flight. Come into Edwin Watts Golf Shops to get custom fit for the new Callaway Big Bertha B21 family today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Ugh,
My stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's now in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And now you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Huh. Let me try it.
Try new Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
You'll see the dedication in every single step. You'll see it in the smiles when smiles are hard to get. You'll see it in the little things that add up to success. The caring and passion are the things that we love best.
Wolf Chase Lemon Brace is your Mid-South provider for orthotics and prosthetics. They are an ABC-accredited facility, and their practitioners are ABC certified. At Wolf Chase Lemon Brace, their services include artificial limbs, legs and arms, braces of all kinds, and custom molded inserts. You can call them today at 901-507-7821 for their location on Highway 64 in between Germantown Parkway and Appling Road, or visit them at their new location in Jackson, Tennessee. That number is 731-660-5900, or visit them on the web at wolfchaselemonbrace.com.
Dedicated our life to yours. Wolf Chase Limb and Brace.
And paid for by Progression. Are you being denied credit? Are you getting hit with high interest rates because of a low credit score? Bad credit happens to good people. In fact, millions of Americans are victims of incorrect or unfair items on their credit report without even knowing. But don't worry, because the Credit Repair Helpline is here for you. We'll communicate with creditors and the credit bureaus on your behalf to address unfairly reported items like late payments, collections, charge-offs, and even bankruptcies, which can lead to a higher credit score. Our proven process has helped hundreds of thousands of people just like you see meaningful improvements to their credit profile. Working to repair your credit today can help you get the new car, new home, or new job you've always wanted. Call 800-939-2371 now and get your free credit score. Call 800-939-2371 to start working to restore your credit. The call is free and the credit evaluation is free. So call 800-939-2371. That's 800-939-2371. Start building your credit today. Again, 800-939-2371.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
NFL, it starts tonight. You can hear all the action on Westwood 1. It's going to be on Channel 5 tonight, but we want you to listen here. If you're working that night shift or you're getting out or you want to just listen to the great coverage from Westwood 1, that starts tonight. Our Westwood 1 coverage continues with the Sunday games, of course, and the two games next Monday night. We are very, very proud and very honored to have Russell Copeland with us. Dave has had him for years. I've enjoyed being a part of that, both in the morning and in the afternoon when Russell's with us, and he has got a new job in the broadcasting business, and it is well earned. When the Tigers go on the road for the game Friday, September 25th at Texas San Antonio, back to San Antonio, he will be alongside Dave on the Tiger broadcast as Jarvis is opting out of going on the road this year. A lot of broadcast crews offering that. Many are taking it. It's not anything at all wrong with it. I applaud Jarvis for it, but I applaud Russell Copeland for putting in the work through the years and earning that position to be sitting alongside Dave, calling the action for his beloved Tigers when they go on the road. And we hope it's the 2-0 Memphis Tigers. Congratulations, Russell.
Hey, thank you. Most definitely. Just looking forward to the Tigers, they're having a week off and being able to get back on the road. And hopefully they are 2-0. But, I really appreciate it. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to, knowing all the players and just commentating the game. So I think it'll be fun. And Dave and I will enjoy it.
Well earned. When you were out there and all those practices and all those games, did you think someday, hey, I'm gonna be the announcer for the Tigers?
Well, I really didn't. I always knew that I wanted to work with kids and train kids and give my knowledge to them. But broadcasting was kind of on the back burner. But throughout the years, I've loved it. I enjoy the game, and being able to kind of look at the game and dissect the game and just analyze the game to me has been more challenging and more fun than actually just coaching and working with guys, even though I still do that. But I just love the broadcasting aspect of it.
Russell Copeland, a star for the University of Memphis, and then a NFL star in the NFL, played in a Super Bowl, and he talks the NFL with us every week. All right, we're gonna get some predictions out of the way for January, February, and then we're gonna get some predictions for tonight and into the weekend. Let's start with just about everybody. I said it was the easiest pick in all of sports to pick Kansas City to win the AFC West. A lot are going a lot farther than that, picking them again to win the AFC Championship game, to be back in the Super Bowl, and win the Super Bowl. Let's start in the AFC, and where does it start for you, Russell?
Well, let's start with the AFC West, and I think it's a slam dunk to pick the Chiefs to win that division. So I think hands down the Chiefs win that division. I would leave from there and go to the AFC North. In the AFC North, I like the Ravens. I like what John Harbaugh has been able to do. Lamar Jackson is the MVP coming back. I just like their overall talent offensively and defensively. Offensively, they can run the football with Mark Ingram. They got Gus Edwards. And outside, they have Willie Steve, Marquise Brown, who's a speedster. And I like their tight end. So overall, I love their team top to bottom, and I think they got a great acquisition when they got Calais Campbell from Arizona. I think that's going to be big for them. That's the type of defense they play, and going from there, I like when I go to the AFC South. I think that's the most competitive division. We look at Tennessee guys. We look what they were able to do last year running the football. They got very hot. Derrick Henry, but I like the Texans, and we'll get a chance to talk a little bit about them tonight, but I like the Texans. I like what Deshaun Watson brings to the table. He's got the big contract. But I think when you look at the Texans, everyone says, well, they got rid of Hopkins. I think that's going to be the blueprint for the Texans. They got rid of Hopkins, but I think they have a running back in David Johnson that you can spread him out. You can run the football with him. If he can stay healthy, I think that'll be big. But they have a lot of talent outside with their wide receivers. They can run. They got a lot of speed. So it's going to be interesting to see with them. I think the last in the AFC is going to be the East. And honestly, man, I'm very excited about the East. I'm excited about the Buffalo Bills. Just looking at their talent defensively, they finished number 2 last year, and just coming back in from top to bottom, I think this is the most talent that they've had since I played on the K-Gun offense run by Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, Bruce Smith, and those guys on defense. So, there's a lot of expectations out of the Buffalo Bills. I like them coming out of the East.
Yeah, this year for that quarterback, though, at the end of the year, there could be someone like you that could say, I knew Jim Kelly. Jim Kelly was a friend of mine, and he's not Jim Kelly. He's going to have a big year.
He definitely does. But when I look at it, when I look at the surrounding cast, that's what I like, because going into his third year, I think he's matured a little bit, but it's not all on his shoulders. I think when you got running backs like Devin Singletary and you drafted Zach Moss, that's going to be a great 1-2 punch. But I tell you what, their tight end, Dawson Knox, I think he's from Ole Miss. I love this kid. This kid right here.
Quarterback in high school.
Yeah, man, he catches the football well. He's very good in the red zone. He reminds me a lot of Olsen when he was with Carolina. I think that'll help him. And also when you look at his defense, man, from top to bottom, they've got one of the shutdown corners on the outside. They can rush the passes from the inside, from the outside. They've got some linebackers, man, that can run. Tremaine Edmonds, I think he's very good. And like I said, the shutdown corner, Tre'Davious White, man, he is outstanding. But he has someone to throw the football to in the slot when he gets in trouble with Cole Beasley. He's got the speedster outside with John Brown. And I think big play guy is Stephon Diggs coming from Minnesota. So I think when you put all that together, I think it'll be a good year for Josh.
All right, who comes out of the AFC, who's in your AFC championship game, who wins it, and then we'll jump over to the NFC.
Well, in the AFC, the championship game, I'm going to say it's going to be the Chiefs versus the Ravens. I like that matchup. I think they're the most talented team from top to bottom, the Chiefs and the Ravens. I'm going to go ahead and go with Patrick Mahomes. I think overall his talent, his play at the quarterback position, being able to come back and bring his team from behind, I'll take the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl in the AFC.
And to the NFC. That's a popular pick, and I can't argue with any of it. To the NFC.
Well, I want to start with the West. I think this is a very competitive division as well. But I'm going to pick the Seattle Seahawks. I love what Pete Carroll has been able to do. Russell Wilson, I think he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks. He keeps doing it over and over, but he has a lot of weapons. He can run the football with Chris Carson. He has Carlos Hyde that he's picked up in free agency. He's got the old reliable tight end Greg Olsen, which is big in that type of offense. And he has some wide receivers that can play. DK Metcalf, I think he's a budding star. He can go deep. He can catch the post in the post corner, Tyler Lockett. And he also has Philip Dorsett. And who knows what Josh Gordon's going to be to do. But their team is going to be built around running the football and defense. And they still have two good linebackers in Bruce Irving and Bobby Wagner. So I picked them in the West. In the North, I picked the Packers. In the NFC North, I like the Packers. Last year they were 13-3. First year coach with Matt LaFleur. I think Aaron Rodgers has a chip on his shoulder. Anytime you draft a first round quarterback and you hear, hey man, he's not the same quarterback, he's on his way down, I think he'll be motivated. And I like the two running backs that he has in Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. So I'm going to pick the Packers in that. Going to the NFC South, I think it's a two-headed race. And we know Tom Brady is now in that division, but I have to look at old reliable. And I love Drew Brees. What Drew Brees has been able to do in the past 5 or 6 years is phenomenal. I mean, you look at all the great quarterbacks, I think he's one of the most underrated great quarterbacks. I think he's ready to go. And sometimes adversity brings the team together. I think they had some adversity in the offseason. I think they're ready to go. They'll be a team. I'll pick the Saints. And for the NFC East, I thought it was a two-headed race. I like the Eagles, but overall, Carson Wentz, to me, cannot simply stay healthy. I think he's a good, solid quarterback, but he can't stay healthy. I love what the Dallas Cowboys
I do too.
Put together. Love it, man. I love what they've assembled in the offseason. I think it started first with Mike McCarthy. He went out and got a Super Bowl winning coach. He's coming in. He's going to change the culture. He's the type of coach what Jerry Jones wants. He's going to get the most out of the players. But when you look offensively, Dak Prescott, he didn't get the big contract, but he's making $32 million a year. He wants to prove something to his owner and prove something to everyone else that he can win the big game. And they put a slew of talent around him. You got Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield. We got our own Tony Pollard. I think they are probably the best 1-2 combination of running backs. But look at the receivers, man. You got Amari Cooper. You got Michael Gallup. You got the first-rounder, CeeDee Lamb from Oklahoma.
Wearing number 88. They didn't give that to him lightly.
Exactly. And I think he'll wear that number well. And defensively, I think the biggest thing for the Cowboys is their secondary. And I think they have went out and they've tried to upgrade in the secondary. I like Anthony Brown, and I like Diggs, the rookie that comes from Alabama. I like him. So I think overall they have pass rushers. They can rush the passer. And on the back end, that'll definitely help that back end. But I just like overall talent that the Cowboys have.
NFC Championship game. Who are the combatants?
NFC Championship, I'm going to say the Seattle Seahawks versus the New Orleans Saints.
Oh, I like it. And then that would make great storyline Super Bowl week, because then if you are correct, it would be Mahomes going for his second back-to-back, or Russell Wilson going for his second in a career, or Drew Brees going for his second over a career. So who will it be, Wilson or Brees?
I'm going to take the Saints. I'm going to take Drew Brees. I just think it's his year. I think over the past couple of years, they've been close. They've had some tremendous losses. They had a bad call. They had an outstanding catch by Stephon Diggs with the last seconds. So I think he's been knocking on the door, and I put him in the Super Bowl.
All right, so you got Chiefs and New Orleans, and the winner?
The winner is going to be Drew Brees. He's going to ride off in the sunset on that horse with the Lombardi Trophy.
Win one for Drew. Win, kind of like the win one for John from Pat Bowlen on the stage. That would be good come Tampa, St. Pete on the first Sunday in February. We got games tonight. Aren't you glad? Break down that game tonight for me with Texans versus Kansas City.
Well, Texas versus Kansas City, I think this is a matchup that's brewing. I think it's going to be something that we're going to look forward to. You got two of your best young quarterbacks going head-to-head. But I think everyone is just picking Kansas City Chiefs in a blowout. I think it'll be a tough game because I think people forget last year when the Texans went into Arrowhead Stadium in mid-October, they won that game 31-24, and they were up 24-0 in the divisional round. They'll play very well, but I think overall with Patrick Mahomes, this is the Super Bowl champions coming back. They're playing at home. Not going to be the crowd noise what we're used to seeing, but I just think overall they'll be ready to come in and play, and they'll defend their home turf. Give me the Chiefs.
And 2 or 3 other games that you really like this weekend and the breakdown of those.
Well, I like the Cowboys and the Rams, and we do have a different scheme when you look at the playoffs this year. There's going to be an extra team. The Rams will be one of my wild card teams, but I think they get back in the fold in a tough division. I like the Cowboys. I just alluded and talked about them, but them going on the road and going against the Rams. I think the Rams got a good defense. I'm going to pick the Rams. Darrell Henderson has an outstanding game. I think he's ready for a breakout season his second year. I just think overall, playing on the road, that defense for the Rams will give those wide receivers and give Prescott a lot of trouble beating the Rams.
It's going to be fun to finally have football back, and then 2 on Monday night. And we'll talk about it all again next week with you. Russell, outstanding your breakdown and summation of the leagues in Kansas City and New Orleans come Super Bowl 55 time with Drew Brees going out a winner. I like it, and it'd be good for the NFL. I know I am ready to watch football, and we've got it not that much longer now, in about 2.5 hours.
Hey, man, definitely. I'm very excited. I just want to applaud the National Football League for getting everything together.
Sure.
They haven't had a whole lot of COVID-19. I thought the season could be put on later, but it's not. I'm excited to see these two teams play tonight. So let's get some football, and hopefully it lasts the entire year.
Russell, thank you, and we'll visit again next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Russell Copeland talking the NFL with us, and he's right. And Dave mentioned, I read the Ross Tucker tweet, and Russell referenced it as well. It is easy. It is easy to knock Roger Goodell around. There's a lot there to knock around. It is. But he got this done. He got the draft done. He got off-season done. No preseason. No pre-exhibition games. A lot of people didn't miss that. But we start tonight. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if we finish on time. I know a good way to enjoy tonight or the weekend or the games into Sunday and Monday night. You got to stock up from the commissary. Either place, the new Collierville commissary at Houston Levy and Poplar, or the original in Germantown, Memphis-style barbecue. It screams Memphis-style barbecue, and also screams this. Any debate on the origin, on who started barbecue nachos first, I can categorically tell you it ends with it is the commissary. It started at the Germantown commissary with Walker Taylor. That's where barbecue nachos started. And now everybody's trying to do them. A lot of places do them really well, but we know where they are the best. And that is at the Germantown or the Collierville commissary, 901-754-5540. Online at commissarybarbecue.com in Collierville and Germantown. Heck, you can go to Collierville tonight and sit outside like we did the other day at lunch, Drew, and sit outside, and you can watch the games there tonight. Enjoy that. Plenty of distance, very safe. They were health and safety conscious way before this. Well, now everybody's doing that, and they've ramped it up even more if it's possible, but they've been able to do it. All the great food. We had it all the other day at lunch. We started with the tamales. We went with the nachos, barbecue nachos. We went with sandwiches. We went with the cheese plate, and we wrapped it up with what I think is the best lemon icebox pie I've ever had in my life. Anywhere in my life, it's at the commissary. Collierville Commissary at Houston Levy and Poplar, are the original in Germantown, 901-754-5540. Online at commissarybarbecue.com. When we come back, we will wrap up this hour talking a little more NFL. You are listening to Sports Time.
R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m., Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1. Don't miss us.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Hi folks, Jeff Jackson, General Manager at Sunrise Chevrolet Buick GMC. Yes, it's hot outside, but so are the deals at our Super Summer Sales Event. With savings as high as $10,000, 0% financing, the largest selection of vehicles in the Mid-South. Need a low payment? No problem. Owe too much on your trade? No problem. Bad credit, bankruptcy, slow pay? It's okay. We specialize in secondary financing and used cars under $10,000. If you have a job, you're approved at Sunrise. Home of the guaranteed credit approval. Find new roads at Sunrise, 385 at Houston Levy. See us online at sunrise@collierville.com.
Jim Gray from Westwood One here with an NFL Kickoff 2020 preview. From Kansas City, the season gets started with Patrick Mahomes and the Super Bowl champion Chiefs hosting Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans. Even with a limited number of fans at Arrowhead, Mahomes says the night will be special.
I'm just looking forward to being back in Arrowhead playing football for the Kansas City Chiefs. And the championship banner is going to be special. It's going to be something that you'll remember for the rest of your life. And I'm glad that we have a lot of the same guys on the team that were with me for that journey. And we're going to enjoy that together, and then we're going to get right back to playing and try to find a way to go get another one.
Don't miss any of the action, including my visits with Tom Brady and Larry Fitzgerald, back with us once again in the pregame show. Then it's the Texans and the Chiefs on NFL Kickoff 2020.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Ben Swinger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 125 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Ben Swinger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. 2 Memphis locations, one in Midtown, on Hollywood Street across from Liberty Bowl, and one in Cordova, off Germantown Parkway next to the Fox and Hound. Visit their website, benswingerglass.com. Ben Swinger Glass.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy.
We talk Tigers football with sideline reporter from the Tigers Football Network, Greg Gaston, to start the 5 o'clock hour, closing down the second hour of our show today. Stay with us. We're here with you until 6 o'clock. NFL action from Westwood One right here at 7 o'clock. With that NFL action, Drew, I don't know if I do know if. I just don't know when it will completely feel like our old lives of March 10th. But it's feeling pretty good the last week or two, and with some football, and not just because of football, but with a lot of the data locally and nationally of maybe, just maybe. No, it's not over. So if we're in my baseball comparison, we're bottom of the 6th, aren't we?
I was going to say maybe even top of the 7th. I'd say we're a good 2/3 of the way through.
Okay, I'll go with that. I think Dave was there top of the 7th. Boy, I'm ready for Harry to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
Yeah, I am too, but I think you're right. It has felt like some bit of normalcy starting to come back.
Corner turning a
little bit, you know, obviously
safely.
Still wearing masks, still doing all the right protocols that we're supposed to be doing. But
might be wearing masks in a year.
We could be. I mean, who knows that we don't just take the precaution around February, March of next year. Just say, hey, let's go ahead and put them back on for a couple months, see what the numbers are, and then we can take them back off if they're all good.
Yeah, long as it's the law, I'm going to obey the law, and I'm going to wear one, and I'm going to try to be safe and try to be respectful of others. There's going to come a day that we tear the mask off, and it will feel good. It'll be very liberating. I don't know when that's going to be. You know, I mentioned the Laird Veach quote that made its rounds today about after the next Tigers home game next Friday night, a week from tomorrow night, against Houston, maybe some relaxing of it in people that would help with the crowd, but a little more will feel more, and then maybe in November a little more, by December a little more, by the time of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl on New Year's Eve. I think if we've gotten to 50% crowd there, that's kind of a asterisk here 2020 win.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that if you can slowly but surely start to allow more people in, and I think the biggest thing for me when I look ahead, at the sports calendar that's left in 2020 and then the start of 2021, the real sense of normalcy, and regardless of how many people are there, will start to finally hit me the first time I walk into FedEx Forum. When I walk into an indoor sporting event, I think that's when I know we've really made the turn. We're on the home stretch.
You know what mine is, and it has been from very early on. When we do a remote at the Spirit Shop.
That is true, because then you know that it's safe to be within 6 feet.
We love Eddie, and we know the accommodations, but I'm with you as far as kind of the demarcation of going out to sports. Right now it feels very far-fetched that come November, December, the normal going to FedEx Forum for Tigers and Grizzlies basketball, that would happen. The basketball news today, the NBA has announced the season will not start at all. It will not start before Christmas Day. We know the draft will now be November 18th. So even if they could buy a little more time of having to do, let's say, the first month, maybe even to the 1st of March in bubbles, in several bubbles. Okay.
I'll take it. I mean,
I know they're not excited about it, but if we had to,
if you have to, you have to. And I don't think the news today really shocked anybody that they weren't going to be able to start till at the earliest at Christmas. Like, well, yeah, I mean, it's September 10th, and we're just now in the conference semifinals. Like, we've still got another month of playoff basketball.
Yeah, we got a lot
at
more.
The minimum.
We got a lot more to finally wrap up the longest season ever. And, we would already have Grizzlies schedule in front of us. We'd have the schedule for about a month now. We would have Tigers schedule in front of us as well. We will visit about Tiger football with the sideline reporter for the Tiger Radio Network, Greg Gaston, one of the sponsors of that, and we're so glad to have him. Christ Community Health Services. Look, COVID-19, it's deadly. If you're an essential worker and an asymptomatic individual and you think you've been exposed to COVID-19, you need to get tested. You need to do it tomorrow. Bright and early tomorrow. Christ Community Health Services will offer free daily drive-up COVID-19 testing Monday through Friday at 1720 RKS Commercial Co., formerly the Auto Inspection Station off of Lamar. Just text TEST 2020 to 91999. Test 2020 to 91999. COVID-19 is deadly. If you think you may have been exposed, you need to get tested at Christ Community Health Services, and you need to do it first thing tomorrow. They will take care of you, and then you can have that peace of mind and be able to plow on with the rest of your existence and your life and live happily ever after, as they say. Thank you so much, Christ Community Health Services, part of the sponsor of Talking Tiger Football. That's coming up next with Tiger Football sideline reporter and our very own Greg Gaston.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Picking up an online order? No problem. It'll just be a moment. We've got more convenient ways to shop besides our same-day store pickup. You can also shop from your car with our free curbside pickup. Or you can even shop completely from home with our free next-day delivery. Just order by 10 p.m. on AutoZone.com. Getting the job done just got easier. Free next-day delivery on eligible orders. Restrictions at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
I'm here with outstanding team from Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway. They're online at lexusofmemphis.com. Gary, tell everyone how they can experience the Lexus of Memphis satisfaction.
Come in and be a part of our family at Lexus of Memphis. Experience the customer service that we provide to each guest like a member of our own family. If you're on the side of the road and you need us, we're there. If you need help with anything with your car, technology, Bluetooth, the app suite, we have a dedicated team to help you with this in your journey with your Lexus.
That's how they do it at Lexus of Memphis.
Memphis, it's official. Crab Kings is where it's at. The best seafood with 7 flavors to choose from. Try the shrimp and chicken pasta. Now available is the salmon and fried lobster pasta. Snow crab, king crab, dungeons and more. Fish platter, $9.99. Lobster tail, $10.99. Jumbo wings, 99 cents each. Download the app or search Crab Kings on Google. Visit us at crabkingstn.com. Crab Kings Seafood and Pasta, Memphis favorites. Memphis, it's official. Crab Kings is where it's at. The best seafood with 7 flavors to choose from. Try the shrimp and chicken pasta. Now available is the salmon and fried lobster pasta. Snow crab, king crab, dungeons and more. Fish platter, $9.99. Lobster tail, $10.99. Jumbo wings, 99 cents each. Download the app or search Crab Kings on Google. Visit us at crabkingstn.com. Crab Kings Seafood and Pasta, Memphis favorites.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join Pete Cordelli and me for Sidelines, Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. on Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1 FM. We'll cover the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, recruiting. Hey, if they keep score, we're covering it. Check us out on the website at sports56whbq.com and sidelines.live. Sidelines is brought to you by Duncan Williams Asset Management. Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. Get up and give us a call.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Final hour on this Thursday afternoon and during college football season. It starts with the sideline reporter for the University of Memphis Tigers Radio Network, our very own Greg Gaston. You hear him every day with Eli Savoy from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., leading right into John Harden. Then us every day before that, Anthony Sane and Peter crushing it in the morning. We will visit with Greg after I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour. That's DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road, 5704 Goodman Road. Visit them online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. 662-890-7184. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. All the cars test-driven, checked out bumper to bumper with an unlimited inventory, and I mean it. There are a lot of cars down there. Every make, every model, there's one there for you. If it's not on the lot, by chance, if it's not, they'll go find what you want just for you. They'll go out and find it. No shortcuts taken at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees. Laid back, down home environment, no high-pressure sales, but they care about your time, and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. You walk in, you find the car you want, test drive that car, credit approved, paperwork completed. Not a lot of paperwork to do. It's not going to be all day. It's going to be 45 minutes. You can do it over your lunch hour. You can do it right now, immediately after work. It's that simple. We're living in a world today that time matters, and they know that at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience with the great people at DeSoto Auto Sales. Greg Gaston, both on the air and on the field last week. I don't know how it could have gone off better for the Tigers. You and y'all and your crew on the Tiger Network sounded fantastic. I listened to just about all of it from the time you came on to the time that you went off the air. Sounded terrific. You on the sideline. I know it might have felt a little different, but a Tigers win, Greg, it probably also felt good to be back out into some step, some path of normality for you, because you're like me. You like to stay busy, and we ain't been lately.
We have not been, Brett. Look, it's great to be with you again. It's good to be with Drew here, and thanks for having me on. Listen, that's a nice win for the Tigers. It's a solid win, but yes, to be out there for those guys to play football, all the work that the players have put in, all the work that the coaches have put in, not to mention what the administration has done, Sports Information Department, just to get the game ready, everybody at Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium, everybody within the county and the city. So there was a lot of moving pieces there. And for me, just to be out there on the field, look, everything seemed to be surreal leading up to kickoff. Once they kicked off that football. It felt like football. Yeah. It was football, exactly. But everything leading up to it was weird, Brett. Weird.
We kind of went Alex Karras there, didn't we? Football.
Everybody else listening to the show right now going, who's Alex Karras?
Yeah.
Who is that guy?
Yeah.
I personally don't know who you all are talking about, but
trust
Greg
us on this one, Drew. Trust us.
Okay.
He was good.
Webster. He was Webster's father. On
Number
the TV show.
71 for the Detroit Lions. My winner of the NFC North, Greg. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at you stepping out on a limb.
Yeah, you know what you get with that, don't you?
I hear you. I'm sorry, Drew. We interrupted.
Oh, no worries, Greg. But you were right. Leading up to the game, there was such a weird sense about it. I remember parking and looking around Tiger Lane and not seeing a single person. People are actually thanking me for coming to the games, handing out cards. But the weirdest thing to me, and I think that the coaching staff and a lot of players had some issues with it, was the electronic whistles. If the referees are wearing face masks, I mean, does it really affect an actual whistle underneath, or how do you think they should correct that? Because there were some issues with it.
Well, there's no question. For those of you who don't know what Drew's talking about, because of COVID-19, the officials have masks, so they have an electronic whistle. They basically press a button, and that's how the whistle is blown, as opposed to just blowing into the whistle. The problem is the volume is very, very low. And there were a number of plays after the whistle that were run. You put yourself in the jeopardy of having a player get hurt in a situation like that, because maybe one player hears it and another player doesn't, so he goes hard, the other one doesn't, and thus an injury. I brought up today on the show, Ryan Silverfield joins us on Thursdays, and I said, Coach, that was 4,500 people or thereabouts in the stadium, and the players on the field, and I couldn't hear it either as a sideline reporter, couldn't hear the whistle. What happens when there's more people in the stadium? What happens at LSU in a couple of weeks when they expect 25,000 plus at Tiger Stadium? How do you hear that whistle? So it is a problem. There's no question about it. They have to figure out a way to get the volume a lot higher. I don't know if they're going to go back to a normal whistle. I would say, Drew, that they're not going to right now because of everything with COVID. That's the most important thing. But they got to figure out a way to hike the volume up on the electronic whistle.
Greg, there weren't many takeaways that were of the negative connotation from Saturday night. Look, they won against, I think, a good team. I thought Blake Anderson, he rolled the dice, and it came up snake eyes on the onside kick from that point on. I thought it took a little bit out of his football team, but the Tigers were mostly in control all night. I know down at least 7-0. Were they down 14-7 as well?
They were down 14-7, I believe.
Yeah,
yes.
so down twice, but at no time did you think, oh no, this is a losable game. It was a good win. 12 penalties, but I think the classic, especially with this open date of Tigers won, go work on a few more things, back at home next Friday night against Houston.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. Look, it's a solid win against, and I'm with you. I think Arkansas State's well coached. The players are talented. They came in on a mission. And Memphis beat them by 13. Yeah, they didn't cover the spread if you're looking into those type of things, but still a 13-point win. That's nothing to sneeze at. So I'm with you. I thought the performance was very good, especially for the first game. The issues early on was with the defense not getting set quick enough because of the high-octane, fast offense that Blake Anderson plays. After the second drive, they were able to fix that. And for the most part, the rest of the game, I thought the defense did a great job with the exception of the one drive late in the game in which Arkansas State scored their final touchdown when Memphis had 4,000 penalties. And Ryan Silverfield was not happy, and he's still not happy about that, especially when you get 2 15-yarders, 2 personal fouls. So other than that drive, the early issues with the speed of the game from the Arkansas State offense, I thought they did darn well. I mean, Brady White, I think we expect perfection now because Brady White is so good. So when he throws one behind a receiver or he kind of forced the one for the interception, we go, oh my gosh. Brady White goes for 4 touchdown passes. He completes 27 of 37. He wins national quarterback honors and throws for 280 yards with the 1 pick. So he did his job. Sean Dykes, it is nice to have him back to see what he did to complement Coxie. The running backs, again, it's going to be running back by committee to replace Kenneth Gainwell. Rodriguez-Clark went over 100 yards. Watkins did some good things. Timmy Taylor came in and did a few good things. Yes, it's not Kenneth Gainwell, but if you can get output, if you can get positive things from those running backs, who cares if it's 2, 3, or 4 of those guys? So, again, this is a long way of saying that I completely agree with you, Brett, that it was a nice win for the Tigers, and now having the time to prepare for Houston with well over a week more before the game, I think is fantastic.
And Greg Drew just up in a skybox, lap of luxury, taking it all in during the game last Saturday night. I mean, it was just whiskey and donuts for him.
Were they feeding him grapes?
Oh,
like
yeah.
the old Roman times?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And had somebody with a palm leaf fanning him.
Drew, was that the case? They were
that was definitely the case. My glass of Buffalo Trace never got below half before somebody came over and refilled it. Trust me.
Hey, Greg, I had a buddy of mine that in one of the hotter games ever at Fayetteville. I mean, in the shade. It was one of those games that was like 110 in the shade. I mean, just brutal a few years ago. And he does a Sunday morning show, and everybody was calling in and just, I'm still sunburned. I'll be sunburned in 2 weeks from the game. It was miserable. And he said, "What no me?" He said, "I was in a skybox." He said, "It was 72 and partly vodka."
I'm sure they loved him for saying that as well.
Go ahead, Drew.
Oh, yeah. But, Greg, one thing I do want to get your opinion on, obviously we know what the offense is going to do. We know what kind of offense Kevin Jones and Ryan Silverfield is going to throw.
Kevin Johns, right?
Kevin Johns, going to throw out there on the field. But what was the biggest difference that you saw I know it's only been one game, going from an Adam Fuller defense last year to the new Mike McIntyre defense?
Well, the 3-man front, so it's different already with the scheme, the way they set things up. I thought they were pretty aggressive. Now, I thought last year's defense made vast improvements from the year prior because I'm always one of those sticklers when the corners give too much room to the receivers off the line. They don't come up and they give them 10 yards and they just dink and dime you all down the field. So I had a problem with that a couple of years ago. I thought they really did a great job last year in fixing that. Last Saturday, there were a couple of issues with the secondary. They were picking on the right side of the secondary because there were a couple of guys that were out. But then Oliver makes the great interception. So he turned around when he was being picked on to make a great play, probably the play of the night defensively. What's that?
Just outfought the Arkansas State receiver.
Yes. Yes, it was right there. He just took it away from him. And again, that was an outstanding play. And now Mike McIntyre has the kind of the WWE belt that he gives the defensive players. But I think the scheme's a little bit different. I still think Mike McIntyre's defense is going to be aggressive. They have some veteran players, some leaders on that defense, and I expect them to show improvement even from last year when I thought they did a much better job. And again, that first game, Drew, the first 2 drives were not good defensively. They could not contain the speed of Arkansas State. But that's a veteran coach with good players adjusting, and all of a sudden they were in control with the exception of the one drive, which was basically a penalty-induced touchdown for Arkansas State.
You know, Greg, I'm not much for post-game analysis of that team just wanted it more than the other one. Mm-hmm. Everybody kind of goes into it wanting it, but that play made a smaller player outfighting a bigger player, the bigger player in the basketball parlance kind of with the inside positioning. He just wanted it more.
Yeah, you want to make a name for yourself and make a good name for the coaches where they know who you are. You make a play like that, and you're on the field a lot more. So, again, you had a couple of guys, Brett, that would not have normally been in there. They were rotation players, and he comes in there and makes just the play of the game defensively. So, and he also added 7 tackles. So not too shabby, the performance by Oliver in that game. But I think defensively we're gonna see him improve. Now our teams like the UCFs of the world and teams that have potent offenses, are they still going to be able to score? Yeah, we're probably going to have those slugfests, those shootouts that we've had in the past with Memphis. But I think overall they're going to do a much better job, and it's going to be fun to watch what Mike dials up defensively if he's going to do more blitzing than maybe an Adam Fuller coach team did. And they have some guys. They have some studs on that defense that can do it and can bring it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Greg Gaston, our guest, the very familiar name and voice with us talking Tigers football from the sideline perspective. He is the sideline reporter for the Memphis Tigers Football Network. His second year down there on the sidelines, and you hear him every day from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. with Eli Savoy on these airwaves on middays, on Sports 56 middays, and you have for a long, long, long time. Brady White, I came in Monday and I probably took I hope it's my last shot at the ones that booed him in the first half of the AAC championship game. All right, never mind that. All's well. It ended well last year with the championship. Fans can be fans. They have a right. I just disagree with it. But Brady White, when it's over with, he has a chance not only to be better statistically and in the hearts of Tigers fans over Paxton and Riley Ferguson, but also statistically over Danny Wimprine. We could really be, we've already seen it, the assault on the record books, and the most important thing, the left-hand column.
Did we expect that? I mean, when Brady White came over from Arizona State, right, nobody expected that. So I think what he has done is he either takes what the criticism which hopefully is no longer, especially after you let him have it last week, as you said, or this past Monday. If he takes that criticism to heart and he uses it to fire him up, because he is the most polite young man and always talking positive about his teammates and always taking, if it's him, he doesn't put the blame on anybody else. So I'm wondering really down deep inside, did the criticism that I'm sure he had to hear last year early because of the fact that social media, it's out there, it's hard not to see it. I wonder if that fueled him, because he's put together just another incredible career after the likes of Paxton Lynch and Riley Ferguson. And, to hit home runs 3 straight times is almost impossible. Now, he could. I don't think he's going to, but as you guys know, with the new NCAA mandates here, he could be back for another year. Man. I don't think it's happening at all, but
won't that be something? Play quarterback and be eligible for Social Security, all as a college football quarterback.
I think he should be the first player coach. But Brady, I talked to Brady after the Cotton Bowl, and he thinks, look, he's going to give it a shot. He's going to give the NFL a shot. Why not? Who knows? Sometimes there's surprises. Does anybody expect Gardner Minshew to be the starting quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Again, I think it's still a long shot, but the numbers that this guy's putting up and just the confidence that he has with each passing game, I can't say enough about that young man and his family and just the leader he is for that program.
Yeah, Greg, I mean, I think that statistically wise, he's going to finish his career at the University of Memphis #1 in yards and touchdowns. Only needs 19 to catch Danny in touchdowns. Needs a little over 2,500 to catch him in yards. And, I mean, this is a guy that threw over 4,000 last year. So I think he definitely has a great shot to catch him. But as far in the minds of the Memphis fan base, do you think that he'd ever surpass Danny, Riley, or even Paxton? I know Paxton got booed his freshman year. I can't remember Riley ever getting booed. And, heck, when I was a kid, Danny was a god around the University of Memphis. So do you think that Brady could ever really take that #1 spot in the minds of fans?
Down there in that Tiger DNA. Good question, Drew.
That's a real good question. I don't think so. Although if you look at what they've accomplished, Brady White led his team to the Cotton Bowl, for goodness sake. The Cotton Bowl. Yeah. Now, remember, with Danny Wimprine and D'Angelo, it was getting back to the first bowl in forever. So people were just so happy. And Danny was such a tough – he'd run through a glass plate window for his team. And then D'Angelo was the best player that ever played at the University of Memphis. And it resulted in that little run of bowl games. So people were fired up. So Danny will always be put on that upper echelon there. But as we move along in years, people, especially younger people, don't remember him as much, don't remember Danny as much and what he meant. What they've seen is Paxton and Riley and then Brady White. Well, Paxton, the story how they got Paxton Lynch was incredible. So it was like, all right, let's take a shot with this kid. And he ends up being a first-round pick in the NFL draft. Now, what he's done in the NFL is unfortunate. It hasn't turned out the way everybody thought it would. But his collegiate career at the University of Memphis is incredible. So you're fired up. You got everything rolling. Then you go out and you get this guy who had originally been with Tennessee and Riley Ferguson. You thought, can we hit it out of the park again? There's no chance, right? They got him off a construction lot, right? Boom, here he is, throwing the ball down the field with reckless abandon, completing passes for long touchdowns. And again, the fan base is fired up. So Brady comes in here, and you watch Brady at first, and you think, oh, my gosh, he doesn't have the arm these guys have. Is he going to be a dud? Well, let's give credit to Mike Norvell and Ryan Silverfield and all those coaches on that staff that they know what they're doing in recruiting. And Brady White has turned out to be a tremendous passer. In fact, I thought he was chucking the ball down the field pretty well on Saturday night. His arm strength seems to be even getting better. And how about him tucking and running at times
He
on
sure
Saturday
had it.
night?
He sure had it. Now, I don't think he's Jamel Holloway, but
no.
but he
He's
seemed
no
like
Bobby Douglas, but
or John Hadel. But Greg, he moved better than Riley and Paxton did.
He moved really well. I was a little surprised, but it's not just that he ran. He knew when to run. He knew when to. Now, the one time he did step over the line and completed the pass.
Yeah.
He tried to get away with that, and that didn't work. But for the most part, he made the right decisions. When to run, when to tuck and run, when not to run. He forced the one pass, and I know the interception, and then the one in the end zone, he tried to get in the middle of like 3 or 4 guys. But that's being an aggressive player, and that's what he is. And when you're playing for this offense, which is still pretty much the same, even though Mike is gone, you play with that aggressiveness. So I love what I'm saying. I really do. It's amazing to me that they could hit a home run 3 straight times with a quarterback.
They have. Greg, high marks all the way around. We also want to remind our listeners every Thursday on Sports 56 middays with you and Eli Savoy through the football season like you did today. You'll have the head coach of the Tigers, Ryan Silverfield, with you guys. We'll talk about the Houston Cougars next week. Greg, thank you for your time today.
Always, guys. Sounds great. Have a great week.
You got it. Thank you very much. Greg Gaston with us, and so much fun. We love Greg and the hard work that he puts in. It's brought to you in part by Talk Tigers with Greg Gaston, the great people at Stonebridge Golf Course. If you love to play golf, one of the best places to play is at Stonebridge in Lakeland. Easy and convenient to get to from anywhere in the area. The layout, it is terrific at Stonebridge, and the course in top shape. You can visit stonebridgegolf.com to book a tee time and see for yourself. Along with the great course, they have a great driving range, so you can work on that game. If you mention Sports 56, you'll get a free bucket of balls with a round of golf. That's right. Just mention us here at Sports 56, and you're also invited to book any event you have coming up in their beautiful clubhouse. Fall's a good time to have events with the weather cooling down. It's a great time of year to play golf, and the place to play is at Stonebridge Golf Course in Lakeland, the premier golf course of the Mid-South. Visit stonebridgegolf.com sportstime.com or call 901-382-1886, 901-382-1886 to make a tee time. And don't forget to mention Sports 56 for a free bucket of balls with your round of golf. Get out, play golf, have some fun, and do it at Stonebridge Golf Course. I played in a Razorback Scramble there, summer of 1995, with Coach Harold Horton, Venerable, Arkansas Athletics Department figure, former assistant coach, son Tim Horton, longtime running backs coach at a lot of places, now at Vanderbilt. Coach Harold Horton that day, Drew, I promise you, whether he was 75 yards out or 585 yards out, he pulled out his 3-wood.
Hey, you got to go with what you know. And
he did. I told him, I said,
whatever you think will work.
I said, Coach, you could wear that grip out on that 3-wood. He was, I mean, it was chip shots. It was off the tee. It was everywhere out at Stonebridge. We appreciate them.
I actually played at Stonebridge a few weeks ago, and I wish I could remember the starter's name because going off at the first tee just had me absolutely dying.
Oh, you got to like that, and you got to like this time of year for the Tigers. So after one game, I don't. If we had any mulligans, I'm not changing anything with my record. Are you?
No, I'm good.
I'm good with the Tiger record the rest of the way, and good for the matchup against Houston next Friday night, and then the following Friday night, a roadie, the first road game of the year in San Antonio against the Roadrunners of UTSA. And there would have been a lot of Tiger fans go, for no other reason. One of the great places in the world, and for anything, and especially for sports, it's San Antonio. The Final Four I went to there, and many had said through the years that if they're kind of the permanent home of the Final Four, maybe a rotator between New Orleans and San Antonio. And after seeing it there for that, I agree.
I do too. San Antonio is a beautiful city, and I wasn't planning on going to that one just because I had already kind of had two circled and
you were going to be
I had Purdue, and even was flirting about Tulane around Thanksgiving weekend there. But if it wasn't for everything that's gone on, I definitely would have tried to make the trip down there because it is just a great place.
All right, we talked about the sense of normality. A texter at 67129 at the First Bank text line. He says it's bottom of the 8th. I'm not going to quibble with you. That's fine. If that's what you believe, I can't argue with it. It's just supposition.
I hope you're right.
Anyway, I hope he's right, and that we are close. But if you found yourself a little bit, I sure did into last weekend, at home, but enjoying the games, but thinking, I should be with the Rebels in Houston getting ready for Baylor. Have you thought this weekend about I should be heading to West Lafayette to see the Tigers and the Boilers?
Yeah, I have, but I have at least, unlike you, I have gotten to see my team play.
Yeah.
So
and you can't dote on that. You can't harp on that. You got to play the hand that's dealt you.
Exactly, and it just feels kind of like right now just an early bye week. Because I am coming off of a game last year. I am doing the Blue and Gray show every Sunday, which has helped create some more normality of the season, of doing something that I'm used to doing every Sunday during the Tiger football season. So it's actually felt pretty normal of a week as far as college football for me and my team has gone today.
Yeah, and that's what we want. We want everybody, far and wide. We want, first and foremost, on the health front, we want back to our old lives, and maybe we'll start that. I know tonight I have never wanted to hear Al Michaels worse in my life when his mic cracks open and he brings it into Thursday Night Football on NBC, and then the games on Sunday. I saw a Fox Sports executive this morning, and he talked about how many, I think like 13 different production teams out there for Fox this weekend for college and for NFL. And, we kind of had that long layoff in sports, and now here it all is, and we are glad to be getting back to sports and back, we hope, to normality and everybody healthy and hale and hearty. When we come back, we'll get to baseball, and we'll talk about the 29-run explosion yesterday from the Atlanta Braves. Hey, save some of those runs. The Cardinals got 12 today. They're winners. Baker's dozen, cousin. They win 12-2 in the first game of the doubleheader against the Tigers. But baseball up next with Tim Doolin.
Take Sports 56 with you on your phone or tablet. Download our official Sports 56 app today.
It's time to beat the heat, Memphis, and we have the hot deals going on here at Sunrise Wolf Chase. GM just extended employee pricing for everyone on almost all new Buicks and GMCs. Rebates as big as $7,000, discounts up to $12,000. Over 500 used cars and trucks in stock with a great selection of late model GM certified vehicles. And we specialize in cars under $10,000. Bad credit, slow pay, bankruptcy, it's okay at Sunrise Wolf Chase. No gimmicks here, just big savings. Highway 64 in Bartlett, across from the Wolf Chase Mall. Call, click, or come in. We make it fun to buy a car at Sunrise Wolf Chase. Family owned and operated since 1989. Come see the difference.
Always get your go-to with the new $10 Tastemaker from Pizza Hut. A large pizza with up to 3 toppings for just $10. Choose contactless delivery or curbside pickup at pizzahut.com. Price higher in some locations. Limited time offer. Availability of contactless curbside and delivery areas. Charges and minimums vary. Delivery charge not tip.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference. Like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Mako is ready to fix those dents, repair that collision damage, spray on a fresh coat of paint with online estimates, contactless service, and our best price guarantee. Come to Mako and roll out refreshed. Go to Mako.com to get started and to find a shop near you. Better get Mako.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Time to talk baseball, and we do it at this time with Tim Doolin. We do it every week with the All-American from the University of Memphis and the great baseball entrepreneur with Doolin's Dodgers and Doolin's Baseball and all the great players that he's helped produce and develop through the years. The Dodgers, they're the #1 seed in the National League. They're gonna hold that all the way through. Right now, 32-12. That's a 6-game lead over second place Atlanta. Atlanta's 25-8. They're going to have to fight it out to stay there at second with the Cubs just behind them. But the division winners will be 1, 2, and 3, and then the #1, 2 second place team will be the 4th seed. Right now, that's the San Diego Padres. We would play you the Braves highlights from yesterday and the 29 runs, but I don't want to run into tomorrow morning with Peter and Anthony coming on the air at 7, so we're not going to play you all the highlights of the Braves exploding for 29 runs. The Marlins scored 9 and lost by 20. Tim Doolin?
How about that? You know what that sounds like? It sounds like a T-ball game.
I saw a really good team in a state championship game with an ace going for the team that I was for lose 20-6, and it was early. It was early and often, and really the 6 runs were scored late. Boys, it was one of the more dispiriting things. That was for a state championship. Yesterday for the Marlins and for the Braves, it's the old baseball theory. It just counts one.
That's right. If you're gonna, you might as well lose like they did, and still, it's just like a 2-1 loss. Sometimes it's even a little bit easier to stomach when you just get your, tail handed to you instead of just losing a close one at the end of the game. But yeah, and if you're part of the winning side, you look up and you go, golly, man, all my buddies got 3 or 4 hits.
I only got one.
They've all had 9 RBIs, right? And I went 1 for 6 with an RBI.
Yeah,
I'm like, dadgummit.
And you say that,
right?
Tim, and you know how much I love baseball, and I sure know you do, but I've said through the years, there's not a more individual sport wrapped in the team concept than baseball. It's just human nature. Those guys, I mean, look, if you can see, you can look up on the Jumbotron, and they've got rolling numbers of your average and what you've done that night. You get back to that clubhouse, they're worried about what they did.
Sure. Obviously we think it's the best sport, but it is. It's like the fact that you can be part of a team and do your job for the team, but yet you've got an opportunity every night to do something that from an individual standpoint, whether it's making a great play, stealing a base, making a great pitch, getting hits or whatever. It's just, and to me, that's what's so amazing about the game. And I love it, obviously.
Tim, one thing that is confusing about the game, and that's all the unwritten rules. How come when the Braves hit a grand slam up 25-9 last night, there's not a single talk of unwritten rules, but San Diego does it a month, and we're all up in arms? Like, what's the difference?
I think I'm not sure what the count was, but and the big disparity in the situation in San Diego was he swung at a 3-0 pitch. But to me, and we talked about it on the show a couple of weeks ago, is I truly believe that some of the unwritten rules have really need to have fallen by the wayside because the game's different. I mean, we're playing extra inning games with putting a runner on a base. I mean, no one would have ever thought that would ever happen. And to be honest with you, even during this pandemic, nobody would have thought we would be shortening games to 7 innings. It's almost like, rec ball. So I don't have a problem with some of the things. Years ago, I can tell you, when we were playing we had a getaway night. We're playing a game and we're flying out that night or the next morning or whatever. There were rules amongst the team saying, you better not be taking a 2-0 pitch. We put the ball in play and let's get out of here, So there's things like that a lot of people don't know about it. But at the end of the day, I don't fault Tatis for doing that.
I don't either.
And Stats, I think you and I talked about it, is the very manager that was upset about it last year in Texas allowed his first baseman to drop a foul ball and not catch it, so his pitcher could get another strikeout to break a record.
Yeah.
Same scenario. So don't call the kettle black.
No.
If you're gonna be that guy that thinks it's a good idea for your guy to do that, and then be pissed off when Tatis swings at a 3-0 pitch. So.
Yeah, and those unwritten rules, man, it's kind of rolling implementation and enforcement of the discipline of them. They change almost by the night. I asked you last week, and you quickly said best team in baseball. It's the Dodgers. Now this one, I think I know the answer from you, and I think for many reasons it is deserving and probably good for the sport. Who's the face of baseball?
Who is the face of baseball? Oh my gosh!
Is it Mookie Betts?
I was just with my son and we were discussing that, and I think with a little bit more branding, and he's not an ego guy.
He's in L.A. That's a good place to get branded.
No, I know. I think I have to think he is, because think about this: this guy is so multi-talented in everything he does, and he's a Jordan guy, and you've got Bo knows. Well, what about Mookie can? Because he does everything.
Love it.
I texted him when he signed the deal, and I texted him a picture of a guy on a surfboard. I said, "Can you do this?" And so I think it's a great opportunity for Mookie and for baseball.
Yes.
To me, Mookie Betts is the face of baseball, and I'm obviously partial to him because my relationship with him. And Mike Trout's done wonders, but I don't think
you got to win.
Mike Trout's in the Angels, and nobody really follows him, and he's not a guy that wants to be the face of baseball. I think he is right now, but I think Mookie should be.
Well, and you talked about the want to of it of the famous NFL Manning brothers. Peyton really wanted that A-plus personality up front a little more than Eli did. Maybe
right.
Mookie Betts will warm up to it in L.A., where Mike Trout just has not.
That's right, and I do think that he's going to have a nice house out there. He's going to have a nice house in Nashville, but I think he's going to end up spending more time, obviously, because of the season and the weather in the off season. He's going to be spending a lot more time in LA. He loves the Lakers, loves LeBron. And now he's got the security for 12 years of knowing that everything's good. We'll see what he does, but he's very comfortable in his own skin, and he's not about Mookie. I just hope that over the next couple of years, as he matures as a young man, he'll start figuring out what he wants his legacy to be. And I know that he cares genuinely about a lot of things. And so I think you'll see a brand being built around him more about his legacy than it is being selfish about parlaying it into endorsements.
Tim, for the first time in about 4 or 5 years, my Baltimore Orioles will be playing a meaningful game tomorrow against the Yankees. What's more surprising to you, the fact that the Orioles are only 2 games under 500 and a game and a half back from a playoff spot, or the fact that the Yankees are 22-21 right
Scuffling.
now?
That's a great question, and I think that's probably depending on who you're fans of, I think they're both equally as shocking to everybody that follows the game. I guess there was a part of me that looked at the Yankees lineup, and although everyone says, "Oh my God, that's an unbelievable lineup," you also had to look at a little bit of the history of the injuries that those players that we would talk about have had and are having again this year. And so I think it's going to be a concern every year with the likes of Stanton and all of their superstars because of their physique and because of the way they work out in the off season, and their history of having nagging injuries.
The Cubs, they right now lead the Central. They're up 2.5. Well, with the game earlier today and the Cardinals already leading, if the Cubs were to lose tonight, it could be down to a game, I think. At the end of the night, the Cardinals still have some games to make up, but they will get them all in. The baseball's already said that they will play 58 if it doesn't impact. If it impacts, they will add the other 2 games on to the standing. Also, baseball clarified today that come postseason, the extra innings will be real baseball.
Well, that's a good thing.
Very good.
And it should. It's benefited the Dodgers in a big way, but Kershaw came out and very outspoken about the fact that he hates the rule. And I think most baseball players, are used to playing a traditional 9-inning game, and really it's not affecting players' careers from a compensation standpoint so much this year because of COVID and the limited number of games. But if they continue to do that and play shortened games and play extra inning games by putting runners on, it's going to affect guys' stats that will affect their contracts at some point. Maybe not a lot of guys, but it's going to affect them.
But this year was about survival.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, I think if we had to predict once we started the season, would we be here and have as few of incidents as we've had? I think we would probably be ecstatic, but it's definitely been a challenging time. It's been a challenging time for everybody in the world, but it's been challenging, speaking specifically about baseball, it's been challenging for these guys, no question.
Tim, me, Brett, and Dave kind of had a little bit of this conversation yesterday, and I want to get your input on it. As far as this season goes, do you think home field advantage and actually playing at home means more or less than it has in years past?
I think it means a lot less, but just the convenience factor of being able to stay at your house and not have to be, quarantined. Mookie was in Dallas a couple of weeks ago, and I said, "Hey, you got time to go grab some dinner?" He goes, "I can't." They take them straight from the hotel to the stadium, from the stadium back to their room, and they get room service.
Yeah,
so
it's like witness protection program.
Yeah, exactly, and that, in a regular year, hotel rooms, I don't care how big your suite is, for those guys, the walls get closer on you, and it gets old. It really does. So I think there's still home field advantage from that perspective, just knowing that you're at home, and really the mindset of saying that you're playing at your home stadium gives you a little bit of advantage regardless. And in most cases, most of these stadiums are conducive to your style of play at your home site.
Tim, we were sorry to miss you on Tuesday for a great lunch extravaganza. We got to catch up soon. I know you're very busy, but enjoy the baseballs. We're getting down to, after this weekend, only 2 weekends of the regular season remain, and then we'll break out the ceremonial bunting. They'll be introduced out to the line, and we'll have playoff baseball, and we'll talk about it with you on Thursdays. Thank you, Tim.
All right, thank you, guys. See you.
You guys, Tim Doolin talking baseball with us. Some concern. And I know they played last night in San Francisco, and I haven't seen it as being canceled as of right now, but they're on the road tonight in San Diego. But Oakland's at home in the Bay Area. Have you seen the pictures of the fires in the Bay Area?
Yeah, I've seen some of them, and it's just another reason of, man, can 2020 get any worse and any crazier?
In California, don't they get it all?
They really do.
That 2 weeks of perfect weather must be really nice.
It must be really worth it for the cost of living out there, too.
It really should. And now it's somewhat maybe jeopardizing the 49ers game on Sunday because of an air quality reading. Who knew? Air quality reading that if it surpasses it, they won't play. And boy, it's just a lot of things to deal with. But at 9 o'clock in the morning, when it should be bright sunshine, it has looked like when you were little, you imagine hell would look like.
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, it's just a crazy time, and you hope that they can get those fires under control, because we've seen how much damage they can do to so many people's lives, and send thoughts and prayers out to everybody affected by them, of course. But we got to get this year over with. I don't know if I could take anything else. I mean, heck, we have a tiger loose on the east side of the state, and a plane landed on a highway out in Knoxville too.
I walked in today with you telling me the tiger news, and I almost turned around because I knew
you almost walked away.
I knew you weren't talking about tiger sports. Look, the weekend it's here, and I know dinner time. Finding something to go out and eat right now. And I've got a great suggestion. Jason's Deli, any of the great locations like Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. Get the food for the weekend to watch the ball games from Jason's Deli. Go online at jasonsdeli.com. It's all about choice at Jason's Deli, regardless if you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you would like to invent your sandwich via the build your own, you can do it at Jason's Deli. Almost 200 Memphis area employees for those locations I just listed, and they like to say wholesome food forever. It's a family thing at Jason's Deli. All the salads, all the meats, breads, spreads, and all the great soups you can get at Jason's Deli. And the salad bar, over 30 items just to choose from on the salad bar. Now you tell them how you want it prepared, and they will prepare it however you want it at Jason's Deli. Catering anytime, anywhere. And in these locations like Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova, the complimentary free ice cream, very safe. The gloves are there. Everything safe and very conscious for you at Jason's Deli. Check them out online at jasonsdeli.com. My friend Chris at Jason's Deli here at Park Place, he is the biggest Detroit Lions fan I know in Memphis, and he was the one that texted me when I texted him, did you hear me just pick your Lions to win the NFC North? And his reply was, have you hit your head? And he's a big fan.
That's been everybody's response to you since we did it on Tuesday.
It has been. Hey, if you're going to go out there and get on the high wire act, get out there, huh?
I mean, might as well. If you got to go big, go. If you're going to go big, right?
And at least, what about Dave shot at you on the way out today?
I know, right? And then as he leaves, act like nothing happened. Didn't even say, I was just kidding, or
well, he apologized.
Thanks for being a good sport.
That's when you got to let it go, isn't it?
I mean, come on, Brett. You know that was just an on-air apology. That wasn't real.
Easiest words on earth to say is I'm sorry. Hard to prove, aren't they?
Very hard.
Dave will be back with us tomorrow. You can see him coming up in just a few minutes as he's doing the Memphis 901 game tonight on WLMT. We have Westwood 1 and NFL tonight, and that's on. And I know a lot of people will be watching that. We wrap it up with Taco Bell Crunch Time. That's next.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56 Middays. Delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
It is time for the final clearance sale at James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. Listen to this, 70 to 80% off on all spring and summer merchandise. You heard me, James Davis, 70 to 80% off on all spring and summer merchandise. Unreal selection of sports coats and sports shirts for your next Zoom call. Limited selection of shorts and knits, but there are some. If you get there, you'll get 70 to 80% off. Here's some of the brands you can save on during this incredible sale. Peter Millar, Sandstrom, Mac 5 Pocket. I'm talking 70 to 80% off while it lasts. The only place in Memphis that you can find the Stant custom shirt and pants system. Only at James Davis, this exclusive store for this unique custom-fitting apparel where shirts start as low as $98, pants at $168. Go see it to believe it. The clearance sale at James Davis.
One thing I really admire about Central Barbecue is their commitment to quality.
Then why do they let you do their commercials?
I'm talking about their food. Everything is prepared with devotion to taking the time and effort to create perfect barbecue.
Oh, I know. That's exactly why I was wondering why.
They're not kidding with that slow-smoked Memphis-style slogan. They smoke their pork for 14 hours. Do they have to? They do if they want to be the best barbecue in Memphis, and they are.
And yet they let you just throw together.
There's nothing better than Central Barbecue because they care.
Except apparently about their radio ads.
Eli Savoy here from Sports 56 Middays. I love to play golf, and one of my favorite places to play is Stonebridge Golf Course. Living out in Lakeland, it's very convenient for me, but it's also easy to get to from anywhere in the area. I love the layout out at Stonebridge, and the course is in great shape. You can visit stonebridgegolf.com to book a tee time and see what I'm talking about for yourself. Along with the great course, they've got a nice driving range for you to work on your game. And if you mention Sports 56, you'll get a free bucket of balls with a round of golf. That's right, just mention Sports 56. They also invite you to book any event you've got coming up in their beautiful clubhouse. With the weather cooling down, it's a great time of year to play golf, and the place to play is Stonebridge Golf Course in Lakeland, the premier course of the Mid-South. Visit stonebridgegolf.com or call 901-382-1886 to make a tee time, and don't forget to mention Sports 56 for a free bucket of balls with your round of golf. Get out, play golf, have some fun, and do it at Stonebridge Golf Course.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is Geraldo. It is crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
Boop!
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
All one, odd two, odd three, two.
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Drew, in that ever search for normality, tonight might start a little bit of it. 5 days of football, NFL and college tonight, high school tomorrow, where they're playing high school football, and pretty full Saturday of college football. Great NFL Sunday, and not one but 2 Monday night football games. It'll look different, but it'll feel good. Bring on the football. What'd you learn?
I learned today that, man, my Ravens are good, and they're going to be good, and you know it that you're stacked when a prolific running back from The Ohio State last year, J.K. Dobbins, in the first depth chart release that was released yesterday, he's listed as 4th.
Pretty strong.
That means you're pretty good there.
And they like to run the ball. The Harbaugh boys, wherever they are, they like to run the ball. Could have done without the football fighters and the football haters, and you know who you are, and you know you're out there. Just step up and take it. Just say it. You hate the cartel and you hate football. Just say you are, because you're getting ready to take a pounding over these next 5 days, and I can't wait to see you get it. Don't kid yourself. They'll never, ever, ever give up, whatever it is. And they couldn't kill football. They couldn't do it with COVID. They couldn't do it with concussions. They can't do it with controversy. It just keeps on. It keeps on going. And football haters, I know you're going to be in a rage, and here comes your fighting back. I know it's coming. Football's ready for it. What is it you could have done without?
While I like what he said in his release today, Ohio State coach Ryan Day, the one thing I didn't like that he's done, and basically a lot of people in the Big Ten continue to keep doing, is hinting at a mid-October start, hinting at a start around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, too much.
I don't like it because, one, we know they're not going to do it. I'm 100% sure. I will bet the house on it that no Big Ten football team plays before the year 2021. I will bet the house on it.
0 for 14?
0 for 14. But here's the thing that makes me mad about it. If I'm a Big Ten fan, I'm so mad that they keep dangling that carrot there in front of my face. Keep saying, no, we're going to do it. Oh, it's a possibility. Look at this hint. He said mid-October. Like, they just keep dangling that carrot in front of your face and knowing that they're never going to give it to you.
I wonder who the guy after Harbaugh, he would be suspect number one, but wonder who the coach would be after Harbaugh that because of this, I'm getting out of here. I want to find me something else. I wonder who it would be. I don't know that it'd be Ryan Day. Would it be P.J. Fleck?
Possibly.
I wonder who the Big Ten coach is after that, wanting to get out. What are you keeping a close eye on tonight?
Oh, man, it's all about the football tonight. Gonna definitely
watch.
Are
you going out?
No. Okay. I'll probably be sitting on my couch with a nice whiskey in my hand and watching every down of the Texans and Chiefs. And I might flip over to the UAB Miami game.
Do you drink whiskey with a mask on?
No, and plus I'm in my own house.
That's right.
You're worried about it in my house? You can put the mask on.
I'm going to keep a close eye on a lot tonight. Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City, the champions, against Bill O'Brien and the Texans, and Deshaun Watson. He's no shrinking violet. He's a superstar in the making. So if tonight's breakout game for him, he's already broken out, but a lot of things being counted on by him for sure among NFL watchers and Houston Texans fans. Lakers and the Houston Rockets. Can the Rockets make it a series, or the Lakers take full control? That game starts in about 7 minutes or so, maybe less than that if my clock is right. It's coming up soon, and we'll watch that tonight and see what LeBron James can do in the NBA bubble. We'll watch the U, even though they're really not the U anymore, against UAB tonight. And some of my buddies in Birmingham predicting a UAB upset. We'll keep an eye on that and many other things, including the soccer that Dave is calling. And Dave will be back with us tomorrow. For Dave, for Drew, I'm Brett. But before we go, I want to thank Bill Bender, Keith Smith, Russell Copeland, Greg Gaston, M. Tim Doolin. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 3.